Hello everyone, this is the story of what if Naruto is enveloped by Hinata's torrential passions. Prologue. For the tie-breaking question, who is the Italian mathematician that discovered the weight of that column of air to be 14.69 pounds? And in his innovation, he used a mercury barometer. The questioner asked his last query. The question that would change the history of this continental quiz bee had been asked. The question that will put the winner a representative once more of her country for the international quiz bee. And now, both women, standing straight and tall, pushed the button in front of her. Unfortunately, one must push first. And that's the certain girl whose long pink hair kept in a neat ponytail, her emerald green orbs shining. With dignity and victory behind the glasses, she paused. Evangelista Torricelli. These are the two words that brought an end to the competition. The questioner stared in admiration. The crowd began to clap as the judges started clapping. This girl hasn't answered a question wrongly. She would just be left behind, but she's still tough. And vigilant for some reason, clearly, for conquest. She didn't burst into tears. She's not used to it. She didn't soar for elation. She kept her feet firmly on the ground. Her eyes focused on the crowd before her, her Japanese people that are there, watching. Her raise the flag of Japan before these people. But well, she's in Japan. No big deal. What's the point anyway? She didn't even go out of the country. But she knew, the next one, she'll get out and will go, for even a few hours. In the other country, no matter where. Just get out of Japan as soon as possible. A middle-aged woman with ebony hair and a pair of chestnut eyes approached her and the pink-haired teen bowed her head down, receiving the gold medal she deserved. The woman gestured at the questioner and he gave the medalist the phone, asking her for a speech. I, Haruno Sakura, won this medal for the people of Japan. For Kami-sama, and I pledge in front of you, that I'll do the best I can. She paused, breathing deeply, in winning the semifinals in the international quiz bee. Haruno Sakura bowed down, the gold medal twinkling, as if boasting its owner, as if contented that the person who achieved her really deserves its shining beauty. Meanwhile, thought I ran into you down on the street. Then it turned out to only be a dream. I made a point to burn all of the photographs. She went away and then I took a different path. I remember the face but I can't recall the name. Now I wonder how what's her name has been. Seems that she disappeared without a trace. Did she marry old what's his face? I made a point to burn all of the photographs. She went away and then I took a different path. I remember the face, but I can't recall the name. Now I wonder how what's her name has been. Remember, whatever, it seems like forever ago. Remember, whatever, it seems like forever ago. The regrets are useless, in my mind. She's in my head. The regrets are useless, in my mind, she's in my head. And in the darkest night, if my memory serves me right, I'll never turn back time. Forgetting you, but not the time. Yeah. The raven-haired international rock star waved at his outrageously big number of fans as they shout hard for their idol, Uchiha Sasuke, and some, for the other band members as well. Bad luck. The crowd chanted a sing-song rhythm together, clearly coming from people in front. Some are eyeing each other with jealous looks to the people who managed to catch an object thrown by each of the members. Uchiha Sasuke, I love you, a person shouted. Hyuga rocks. Another one, standing on the metal bars that separates the audience and the stage. You're the best, Naruto-kun. 2 girls shouted together from the VIP section. Gaara-san, go out with me. Another one shouted, though not heard because the four already went to the backstage, where the space is crucial, the people are standing against each other. But squeezed out of the way to make way for the incoming rock stars. The bad luck members finally entered the backstage, plopping down on the soft couch, and making themselves comfortable. New girl, huh? Gaara asked Sasuke, who was currently holding the waist of a young blonde, a French girl. The girl spoke in a different language and said that she wished to go home now and she will leave them. How many days have you been together? Hyuga Neji asked when the door closed. 2 days, came Sasuke's reply. Hey, we'll need to get back to Japan for your 1-year break. The band manager, Nara Shikamaru, said, you must go back to your school, the school last year. Yeah, sure. The band's weary reply came. Wish I'll have a genius partner this year. And I mean a really genius one, Sasuke said as they packed their instruments to catch the plane back to their homeland. Not the one like last year? Uzumaki Naruto asked. No, I want beauty and brains mixed together, Sasuke said, smacking his lips together. Like Haruno Sakura for example? Naruto asked once more. Hell yeah, that would change my grades forever. And I would want her to be my girl. Damn that fine body she possesses. Sasuke replied. How many have you had this year? Neji asked. 15. I lost. 12. Neji shook his head. Sasuke replied, jumping up and down. Boys, Shikamaru shouted, being carried away by the stream of people blocking their way. World clash. Footsteps. There was a hiatus, and soon enough a knock came. The sliding door opened, revealing a 15-year-old young lady wearing gold-lined eyeglasses, hair tied up in a neat ponytail. The woman, seems to be the advisor of the class, went to aid the girl, and the girl showed her the admission slip. The woman nodded and beckoned the girl towards the center of the class, making some who were unaware of her absence gasp. Please greet Haruno Sakura, the woman said, gesturing at the mature looking young lady that walked into this class just now, who nodded. The class just stared at her, none daring to make any sound, or just too shocked to believe. Ms. Haruno is the only newcomer here in this class. And as I was saying, Mr. Uchiha, there wouldn't be some sort of gaffe. 25 girls and 25 boys, it's equal now, so you shouldn't be asking for a no partner thing once more. No buts, she quickly added as Uchiha Sasuke raises his hand for another question. Great, my grades will surely change. Arigato, Kami-sama. The class laughed as Sasuke began making faces thanking for such miracle. Uchiha, stop that, the woman once more said, making Sasuke stop, but Sakura, finding it quite annoying, and rolled her eyes. We might as well get to know each other. Nay, I'm Asuma Sarutobi, your class advisor. You were to say your whole name, then your age and some additional info. Let's start with you, Mr. Green. Green, a boy named Lee asked. Yeah, Gomen nay, I don't know your name, so this is what I have to call you. Asuma smilingly said. She heard a snort behind her and groups of controlled laughter. Mr. Uchiha, care to share what you shared to the others? Asuma asked. Sasuke ran a hand on his hair, making it messier than ever, and stood up before saying, I would like to advertise our new album, Phoenix Does Cry. It has our new records, like Give 'Em Hell, Kid, and the longest song we ever played, Homecoming. He winked. Unfortunately, your wink doesn't do any change in me, even if you're such a human magnet, attracting people wherever you go. Please sit down, Asuma replied. Please start. Rock Lee, 18, next Kung Fu champion artist ever. He made a few kicking moves, ending up kicking the desk by his kneecap and making him stumble and fall down. I'm okay. Everyone's sweat dropped. Tenten, 16, so-called weapons mistress in archery. A girl with chocolate hair tied up in buns said. Before she sat down, she took a glance at the person at the back of Uchiha Sasuke, Hyuga Neji. After 2 minutes, Haruno Sakura, 15, representative of Japan for the International Quiz B. Sakura said, emotionless. The next one didn't stand up. Uchiha, Asuma asked, her nose flaring from anger. Hi. Uchiha Sasuke, 16, youngest and coolest teen rock star. He glanced at the whole class and winked at them, making some girls drool. We know that, Naruto said, crossing his legs. Some snorted. Tamari, 17, future Uchiha Tamari. Tamari smiled at Sasuke, who pushed away his chair away from Tamari to the farthest he can push. His chair tripped over the shallow line and he fell over, but Sakura pushed his chair away before it fell. Idiot, Sakura muttered before resting her head on her hand. Yeah, marry my dear old brother. Sasuke said, I think I'll prefer you. He's too good at dancing. I like people who sing. Tamari gave Sasuke a flirtatious smile before looking at Neji, who was supposed to say something. Hyuga Neji, 18, heartthrob. Neji said, smirking. Some guys swore under their breaths but sighed when some girls nodded. Good one, Hyuga, Naruto said as Neji and Sasuke smirked together. I've been thinking of that too. I'm beat thinking. Naruto said. Sakura-chan, right. Naruto. Naruto leaned his hand forward for Sakura's. Nice meeting you, Sakura replied, not daring to look behind. Good move, Naruto. But no effect whatsoever. Sasuke smirked. Recess time. The bell rang. Students walked out of the classroom noisily, but some remained. Including Haruno Sakura. Hey, a small, sweet voice said and tapped Sakura on the shoulder, making Sakura jump a little. She looked up and saw a blonde girl sitting on the armrest of Sasuke's chair. Sakura looked behind and saw that the only people in the classroom are her and this blonde girl, some boys, and Sasuke, with Neji and Naruto and the red-haired guy she doesn't remember his name. Name's Yamanaka Ino. She held out a hand. Sakura took it and shook it slowly then let go. You're lucky. Huh, Sakura said, crossing her legs. Sasuke's making his move on you already. And you're new, Ino said. I've got a crush on him, you know. But he just won't pay attention to me. He's too immature. Sakura smirked. She's in big trouble now. She hates annoying people and she knows it. Reasons behind the coldness. Hey, Sasuke muttered under his breath, lightly kicking Sakura's chair. What? Sakura muttered back. Nothing. Sasuke replied, and then kicking her chair again. Hey. What? Sakura whispered back, satisfied that he caught her full attention. He threw a piece of crumpled paper on her desk. Sakura looked at him questioningly and he mouthed, open it up. Slowly, she opened the paper and was shocked inside when she opened it. Written on it was, will you go out with me? She wrote back, and threw the paper back at him, bearing the words we just met this morning. And I have no time for those kinds of things. Now shut the hell up and listen to the teacher before we get caught. History is the last subject anyway. Sasuke shot her a make-out pitiful face, but Sakura wouldn't fall for that, so he gave up. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 20, 13, 8, 2, 1, 0. No bell came. Kurenai-sensei. I think the bell. Sasuke was cut off by the bell. I think that's what you're looking for, Mr. Uchiha, Kurenai said. Now, I want you to look beyond our history and please read ahead. The class nodded silently while some girls who are currently adding new members in their bad luck fan club shot their teacher deadly daggers because of making him embarrassed in front of the whole class. And some shooting daggers reserved for Haruno Sakura, since the word that Uchiha Sasuke just gave Haruno Sakura a letter asking her out. Sakura walked home, and on her way saw a music store. She sighed and opened the door to the store and asked the person in charge if they have a copy of Bad Luck's Phoenix Does Cry. The person in charge gave her a copy. The design is sort of animatedly drawn, with a girl in the middle, crying, and the phoenix encircling the crying lady, its tail spiral around the girl. She turned it over, and looked over the songs. She never really listened to music. She changed a lot, and I mean a lot. Not after he broke her heart. Flashback. Hey, want to hang out tomorrow? My treat. Sakura's boyfriend, Morino Idate asked. Why all of the sudden? I have to study, you know. Sakura smiled at him back as he does. I just want to talk about something. His voice grew serious. Sakura wasn't used to this. If Idate is having a serious voice, it must be really important. Did he want our relationship to end? I shouldn't done better and agree with everything he wanted. Damn, don't wanna lose him, Sakura thought, not noticing that she had frowned too much that Idate saw this. Idate nudged Sakura and he gave her a reassuring smile. Sakura smiled back, thought she noticed something in his eyes that shouldn't be there, nervousness and confusion. So, see you tomorrow. Good night. He walked off without having his usual goodnight beeps on the cheek. Sakura's brows furrowed in confusion because Idate's really acting weird. The next day, nighttime, while eating in a restaurant. Sakura, baby, we really need to talk. Idate said, his eyes becoming serious once more, making Sakura shiver a little. What's wrong? Nothing, it's just cold. I'll just put on my jacket. Sakura lied, putting on her jacket. Ready? He asked once more. Yeah, spill. Sakura forced a smile. Idate coughed a little and breathed deeply. Then he closed his eyes and didn't open them for a moment. He opened them and took both of Sakura's hands, which are resting on the table. Sakura, I really hate to do this. His eyes showed nervousness once more, but the confusion is out of his mind. But we need to break up. Why? Have I done something wrong? Or did your parents found out about us? More questions rushed in Sakura's mind, but one caught her attention. You're playing me, she said, her voice trailing away, her other words failing her. Sakura, sorry I two-timed you. He bit his lower lip and clenched his fists. You what? Sakura said, a little too loud, making some other customers look over. Chill out, Idate said nervously, more nervous than he had been earlier because of Sakura's eyes burning. She found out and she asked me to choose between you and her life. She'll kill herself. Then let her, Sakura whispered, her hands clenching her handbag, readying to go. I can't do that, Idate replied. All right, don't dare to shove your face onto me again. We're through. Sakura stood up, and left without another word. Idate didn't leave the spot where Sakura left. End of flashback. Maybe I need to change back again. She asked for the copy she's holding and paid for it. Flashback. Neji's embarrassment. A week later, at recess time. Hey, I love the smell of ramen this morning, Naruto said, trying hard to sniff the smell of ramen in the air, but people kept going inside the canteen. Hey, how about loving the smell of ramen with a little cherry blossom scent around you? Sasuke asked when Sakura, Ino, Tenten and Hinata passed by them. Sakura just glared at him and Ino shot him a hurt look that Sasuke didn't notice because his eyes are still on Sakura's retreating figure. The girls. Guys, who do you think is better, Uchiha or Hyuga? Tenten asked when they already have food and seated on a table. Uchiha. Ino nodded. Are you comparing my cousin and that bastard? Hyuga. Hinata said once again, she's not shy in my story. The girls except Sakura giggled when the bad luck members sat on the table next to them. The boys. Hey, it's them. Naruto nodded at Sasuke then at his back. Yeah, I know right. Sasuke said. Sasuke stood on his seat with his knees and encircled Sakura with his arms. So my girlfriend is behind me and I don't even know. Sakura pulled away, but Sasuke didn't remove his arms around her. Once again, I'm not your girlfriend. Second, she struggled. Will you keep your hands off me? All right. Sasuke raised his arms in defeat and said, I would like to introduce to the school my girlfriend. He pointed at Sakura. Sakura felt her face grow hot. Stop this nonsense, now. She faced Sasuke. I'm not your girlfriend and will never be, all right. Sakura shouted, making some freshmen jump. Naruto, who was observing the freshmen, said, they're getting smaller each year, you notice. Why, you were also that small last year, Naruto. Sasuke said out of nowhere. Naruto then heard a slapping sound, and then a groan, next is shifting of position. Do better next time, Uchiha. Gaara said, trying hard to control his laugh. Neji did the same, but he didn't talk, but sure he is trying hard to control his amusement when Sakura stood up from the chair and slapped Sasuke. The girls walked off, Ino patting Sakura's back, Tenten and Hinata laughing their hearts out. I thought I have a chance when she said that our new album has cool songs. Sasuke reasoned out. Grow up. The person who failed to notice the so-called Uchiha magnet has finally come. Naruto said, his bowl of ramen finished. Yeah, right. Sasuke mocked and rolled his eyes. Club orientation tomorrow, nay? Naruto asked after a few more minutes. Yeah. Neji glanced at his handbook. What are the clubs you're going to join? Gaara asked. I'll join basketball, Neji said. I think I'll join that too. Naruto said. We've been in that club for 2 years. Let's go for 3, Sasuke replied. It's amusing to watch how our foreign opponents from other schools become gays each time we look at them. Gaara and Naruto chortled, while Neji blushed. So remembered that incident, huh, Hyuga? Naruto asked. No I don't. Neji blushed harder. Ooh. Too good looking for the gays, I presume. Sasuke narrowed his eyes in a mischievous manner. Or should I say, too heartthrob that you magically transform guys into gays. I'm not a heartthrob. Neji said. Hot you said that you were. Hyuga Neji, 18, heartthrob, nay. Naruto said, his eyes matching Sasuke's, though different in color. When did I said T that? Neji said, his face turning a darker shade of red. The group burst into laughter that made the whole canteen look at them, though that didn't stop them. First day of classes, we presume. Gaara replied, burying his face on both of his hands. His elbows resting on the table so that it shook while he laughs. I didn't. Neji shouted at them. Remember that, guys, Sasuke said, fighting the urge to stand on the table and laugh there. They nodded, though not clear whether they said a combination of yes and no, and they said yes, but their bodies were shaking violently with joy that they said no. Get it? Flashback. This is the school? Sasuke asked, taking in every inch of the surrounding. Sasuke, Neji, Gaara, Naruto and a guy called Kiba are the first 5 of the basketball team. They just entered the school premises. Another school, and they are competing against them. Hell sure is, there are about thousands of students watching and catcalling for them. Sure, they are supposed to be the opponents, but you can't help that if you are internationally famous. Not to mention 4 famous people. Let's do this, guys. Naruto said. Team. Gaara whispered, enough for the others to hear. Team. Naruto said. Team. Sasuke replied. The team of Sasuke won and they jumped for joy. Some who were betting on who are going to win, pays, and the person who won the bet raised his hands in victory. Hey, look at our opponents. Gaara whispered to the others. When the other 3 looked behind them, their enemies were already in front of them. Nice game, Sasuke said, nodding and holding out his hand. But the blonde in front is not acknowledging Sasuke, but is instead, his gaze is on Neji, who has his back on them the whole time, drinking his remaining mineral water and bending his neck so that it created a cracking noise. Neji turned around and the blonde one embraced Neji, knocking the breath out of him, and Neji, losing his balance, fell on the cold floor of the court, the blonde still on top of him. Hey, I see can't be breathe. Neji said in between gasps. Guys, help, you got yourself a handful of fangays, Neji. Naruto said, laughing hard, that some girls turned their head, and recognizing him, began asking out autographs. Please let go, I really can't breathe. The blonde let go of Neji and is looking at him intently. Neji flip-flopped and is back on his feet, and the blonde pecked him on the cheek. Neji was stunned. After regaining his senses, he shot the blonde and his group a death glare before grabbing his bag, and throwing his jersey there, leaving him only wearing white t-shirt. Wish I were sick earlier today, Neji muttered, and he sped off into the car outside the school premises. The others, who were left behind, controlled their laughter and, knowing that they can't hold back anymore, burst once more into laughter. End of flashback. Sasuke laughed and shot a glance at Neji, who bumped his shoulders onto him and sped up into the classroom, and when the others entered the room, they found Neji sitting cross-legged on his chair, a couple of girls behind him pointing at the back of his head, and giggled. First beep. Nah, November is nearing its end. The winter cold starts to envelop the campus with its usual cycle, and the students are anticipating for the first snow to fall, girls clutching their jackets over their white and blue sailor uniforms, at the same time trying hard to hold down their mini skirts when the wind blows hard. Sakura is reading her book in the classroom, seated in her usual position, her eyes trying hard to sink in her all information in the chapter 3 of her book as she reread the paragraph in 3.1. Introduction. We shall now take up solution of oblique triangles by methods that do not require breaking them up into right triangles as done in the previous discussion. She used her hand to smooth out her hair and read the next line. Problems involving solution of oblique triangles may be classified under 4 major categories or pluck. The elastic band that kept her hair together snapped, creating itself in a line segment shape and leaving Sakura's hair loose and lay peacefully on her shoulders once more. Sakura rummaged inside her bag for any extra clip or elastic band, but she found none. Well, it is the first time I get to see Haruno Sakura with her hair down. Sakura stiffened at the voice. She turned around and saw Uchiha Sasuke. Damn, Sasuke whispered. You know, you're much beautiful with your hair down. How about removing your reading glasses? They're for reading times only. Not all the time. I can't do that. It's mental torture. Having my hair down then taking off my glasses gives me the creeps. And besides, Sakura continued to try to find her elastic band, and when she doesn't find it, decided to buy later. I've been letting my hair down many times when I'm here. At the same time, I also took off my glasses, and believe me, it's really scary. The boys here. Scary? You don't even let it down. You must be kidding me. Sasuke raised one of his eyebrows. He asked one boy who always remained in the classroom for recess. Sasuke whispered, "Have you seen Sakura without her glasses and her hair down?" The boy, who was currently eating, swallowed hard and looked at Sasuke weirdly. Sasuke felt the urge to shout at him and just answer him, but when he almost did, the guy spoke up. Yes. He glanced at Sakura. She looks so indescribable. What kind of indescribable? Negative or positive? Sasuke asked once more, and heard Sakura muttering curses about her missing extra elastic band. Super positive. The boy muttered and resumed to eating. Then Naruto and Gaara entered, Naruto balancing the rope on one shoulder, his backpack in the other, while Gaara laughs at how Naruto struggles and pointed at Sasuke, who is calling both of them. "Hey," Gaara said, while Sasuke nodded at Sakura. Sasuke mouthed something like, "Tie her hands behind her." Then Sasuke glanced at her once again. "Sakura, what are you looking for?" Gaara asked. "An elastic band, damn it." Sakura gave up and putted down her bag on the floor, then returning to her original position. Naruto grabbed both of her hands and forced Sakura, who was struggling hard, to put it behind her while Gaara tied her up. "What are you planning?" "Ouch," Sakura said, looking behind her back, where Gaara successfully tied her up tightly. "Tisk tisk, my nails are too long," Sasuke said, glancing at his nails and his thumb running through it. He glanced at the clock. He got 20 more minutes to play with Haruno Sakura. "How about me taking off your glasses?" Sasuke asked. "No way, you're going down, Uchiha," Sakura muttered, enough for Sasuke to hear. "Too bad you're the one going down. My cherry blossom," Sasuke muttered also, nearing his face to Sakura's. "Since when did I become yours?" Sakura asked, breathing hard. "Since birth," Sasuke thought aloud. Sakura just rolled her eyes. Then her eyes showed a flicker of fear when Sasuke's hands reached out to remove her glasses. She was paralyzed. Something told her not to move. "Uchiha, stop that, right now," Sakura said, blinking twice when Sasuke took hold of Sakura's glasses and took them off. Once off, she closed her eyes for a moment and opened them. Sasuke looked at Sakura and his heart almost stopped breathing. She is looking down, but her green orbs still visible. Sasuke kneeled down in front of her desk and neared his face to Sakura's once more. Sakura just looked at him and things started going inside her mind. Just like I date, Sakura thought. Maintain that as a habit, Sakura. I really love the way you look, Sasuke whispered in Sakura's ear as he moved sideways. He beeped her cheek and stayed there, his hands suddenly moving involuntarily to her arms to hold her as she shook in fear. As he held them, he closed his eyes and his beep went down to her neck and he could feel Sakura shook once more. As he looked up to see her face, he noticed that she had her lips pursed and her eyes closed. He thought she was fighting the urge to moan, the sound he wanted to hear. So he decided to move this up a notch. Sasuke moved towards her jaw and left trails of beeps there as he traveled up to her lips. Sakura opened her lips and let out a heavy sigh. Sasuke smirked and caught her lips, his lips massaging hers. Sakura felt herself leaning back on her chair, making Sasuke stand up beep her more, his head slanting to take a better one. Sasuke smiled to himself as his tongue traveled to her mouth, moving in a slow motion to take in Sakura's scent. Then, Sakura felt her hands once more. She knew that it's either Gaara or Naruto who cut the rope off her hands and it moved without any will to Sasuke's back, balling his uniform from his back. Sasuke, frustrated not to hear any sound coming from Sakura. By now, they caught the whole class's attention, and everyone as quiet moved his tongue to play with hers. At that exact moment, he heard what he wants. Sasuke pulled away to see Sakura's reaction, and saw that she's out of air, so he kneeled once more in front of her and smiled at her. Sakura just stared at him back. Her lips are shaky, and Sasuke reached out to touch it. She flinched then relaxed as she let him run his thumb on her lips. Sakura is still too shocked to move away. She had a weird feeling that she actually enjoyed what Sasuke did to her. So, agree to be my girlfriend, Sasuke muttered, unable to speak. Sakura shook her head and pulled away from Sasuke, who stood up and tapped her shoulder. Just tell me if you want to. You left me girl-less for 2 solid months, Sasuke said and returned to his seat next to her. Sakura raised her hand to her lips and touched it. Then a small smile made its way to her face. I can't believe you actually enjoyed that, Sasuke said. Sakura blushed furiously. Wish I could do that to her more often, Sasuke thought. I can't believe he's actually serious about Haruno. I thought he was just joking. Damn, must make my move any second now before he does. Neji thought. Help, guess so. I'm finished with all my assignments, Sakura muttered. I think I'll have a walk around the park. Sakura then grabbed a jacket and headed out of the house, locking the front door. Since it looks like it's going to rain, she grabbed an umbrella standing neatly on the side of the gate and walked for a few minutes to the park. She saw the cherry blossom tree she always sits each time she finishes her assignment. But she saw a bike near it and decided to go nearer. She saw a young man wearing a cap, his body lying peacefully on the grass. Then the rain fell. The young man flip-flopped and went to the bike. Sakura had her umbrella opened and she was near to the bike, so she saw the person going to the bike. Sakura, the man asked. Sasuke, Sakura asked. Sasuke smiled. He's soaking wet now. Sakura noticed it and hurried to his side, sharing her umbrella with him. I didn't know you could be warm, Sasuke said, taking off the chain around the tree. What are you doing here? Sakura asked, ignoring Sasuke's remark. I don't want to go home so early. And that's my mistake, Sasuke answered, finally taking off the chain that kept the tree and his bike together. Why? Sakura asked quietly, rain pouring harder over them. I still have to cross 5 more streets, plus traffic, see. Sasuke pointed at the next street, where cars are beeping loudly. Sakura just nodded then looked at Sasuke. He still has his bag with him, with his body slightly shivering. How about staying in at my place for tonight? Sakura asked. Clothes. And your parents? Sasuke rolled his eyes, running a hand through his wet hair. I have some of my parents' clothes. And my parents, they're on vacation at Hawaii. They took half of my winning money with them for that stupid vacation. They won't be back for another month, Sakura said, clutching her umbrella tighter. Brains sure took you to fame, huh? Me, looks and attitude took me up. Sasuke nodded. Sakura rolled her eyes. How about me going home now? Sakura asked. I thought I'm going to come with you, Sasuke replied, suddenly stopping from his daydreaming. That's my point. We'll just walk. My house is only a few meters away, Sakura replied. She was taken off guard when Sasuke's arm is wrapped around her shoulders and the other one pulling the bike. You're soaking wet. Sakura pulled away from his arm and he sighed. Oh, come on. Girls are dying for me to get my hands on them, Sasuke reasoned out. I'm not like them. I saw the kinds of girls your type goes out with. I'm the only one you'll ever find, Sakura said icily. That's why I'm switching, Sasuke chuckled. Sakura just rolled her eyes. After a few more minutes of the usual bickering, the two reached Sakura's home. Sasuke observed the surroundings. It is quite small for his point of view, with a pretty small garden, and her door is made of polished oak. The gates are painted red with a few rusts but quite invisible if you don't look clearly. Once inside, the room is quite cozy, for matured people. The view of the room suits Sakura, matured, serious, and straight to business. Can you stand for a few minutes? I'll just get you some of my father's clothes, Sakura said and didn't wait for an answer. Sasuke didn't bother answering back and kept looking around. Her rug is circular, in which the couch is on and the television set is located. There are 3 pillows in it, particularly for Sakura, her mother and her father. At the stairs, he found a couple of visible framed pictures, the woman with pink hair and green orbs, an older version of Sakura, but very beautiful. Her father is wearing a pair of gold-lined eyeglasses which looked exactly like what Sakura was wearing earlier, and is currently wearing. The other is a picture of Sakura, her head resting on the shoulder of a boy Sasuke felt familiar with. Sakura has her hair down and her eyeglasses nowhere to be seen, and she is smiling. He felt his hand clench, his nails digging into his palm, creating nail marks on it. Then he saw Sakura back, a white t-shirt on her arm and a pair of pants in the other. Here, make yourself comfortable anyway. There's a bathroom just over there, next to the kitchen. Sakura instructed, pointing at the white lighted room. Next to it is a door. Sasuke just nodded as Sakura handed him the clothes. Sakura led Sasuke to her room, which is the only available one. Because her parents didn't let her sleep on their, oh so comfortable, bed. The guest room is locked, since Sakura's parents didn't think that Sakura will have a guest inside their house. It's so un-Sakura-ish type. Which leaves her room. You can sleep on the bed. Sakura nodded at her bed. Okay, so goodbye my comfy bed, Sakura thought. No reply came, even no movement. Hey, Sakura looked at Sasuke. He has both of his eyes closed tightly, beads of sweat on his forehead, and his hand slowly massaging the left part of his forehead. Sakura reached up. Sakura reaches only Sasuke's nose, and tried to feel the temperature of his forehead, and she took it off quickly. She pulled Sasuke to her bed, pushing him to sit down, and he obeyed, his eyes still closed. Sakura sat beside him and felt his temperature once more. Damn, you have a fever, Uchiha. Sakura exclaimed as she pulled down Sasuke's hand from his head, but he pulled away and touched his forehead once more. I'll just get you some warm water. You need to lie down, Sakura said, pushing Sasuke down to her bed, where he curled up his body. Sakura ran down and got a basin under the sink. She checked the hot water in the water dispenser, then the cold water. Both are done already, and she turned both on so water ran freely onto the basin she held underneath the two openings. Then she turned off both. Then she got a thermometer and some ointment in the medicine cabinet in the washroom Sasuke entered earlier. Then she proceeded to her room. She left the door ajar so she entered without noise and saw Sasuke seated up. His eyes finally opened as he wiped away the sweat on his forehead. Sasuke-kun, lie down, Sakura whispered. Did she just call me by my first name with the suffix? Sasuke thought as he obeyed Sakura, who was dipping a piece of cloth in the basin full of water. She dried it up a bit and putted it on Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke grabbed her before she moved and pulled her towards him so that she stumbled and fell next to his body. I want you to sleep with me, Sakura-chan, Sasuke whispered in her ear. Sakura, you can't, you're just 15, and what if the word goes out? That guy next to you is internationally famous and you're nearly famous, it would totally ruin your reputation. Sakura's inner self argued. Sakura didn't obey her thoughts as Sasuke began pulling away the elastic band that kept her hair together. And her eyeglasses. Sasuke gave the glasses to Sakura, pointing towards the cabinet next to her. Sakura obeyed and putted the glasses next to her alarm clock. Before she could make another move, Sasuke moved on top of her, holding the cloth Sakura putted over his forehead and putted it next to Sakura's eyeglasses. Come on, Sakura, why do you always reject me? I mean, do you like somebody else? Sasuke asked out of pure curiosity. Anyways, he's ready to help Sakura to whoever she likes just to see her smile. All he needs to do is to stop falling even more with her. It took a while before Sakura answered, as if she's debating whether to reveal that she has taken a liking on somebody else. Yes, Sakura said, avoiding Sasuke's gaze. Sasuke took hold of her yaw. Gently and pulled it so that she's facing him again. Who? Sakura closed her eyes, and Sasuke noticed her discomfort. He took his hand off. Come on, tell me, Sasuke whispered, lowering his head down to Sakura's. But she pushed him up with her hands. Why should I? I mean, Ino and the others doesn't even know. Sakura replied. I can be trusted, Sasuke said, nodding. All right, just get off me, will you? Sakura said. Sasuke obeyed her and positioned himself next to her. Sakura took a deep breath. Come on, you're killing me in suspense. Sasuke muttered. Hyuga Neji. Saku. Ra replied and turned her back on Sasuke. As a matter of fact, Sakura likes two people. Well, a very unlikely two people who are close to each other. Sasuke and of course, Hyuga Neji. But she likes Neji more. What she felt is like. Neji is more mature than Sasuke, but what bothers her is that Sasuke has the same attitude like I date. Prank, a bit playboy, heartthrob, class joker and everything, Huff, she doesn't know much about Neji because Sakura, well, what do you call that? Oh yeah, antisocial with boys. When she told Sasuke that, she felt she stabbed him, and her friends. She likes Sasuke too, and she even told Sasuke first. Not her friends. It's like misjudgment. Sasuke sighed. He really thought it's him. That Sakura is just playing hard to get. But well, won't be the first time the girls that Sasuke likes will like the Hyuga, even though the internet and phone surveys say that Uchiha is more heartthrob than the Hyuga. But well, this will also be the first time that Sasuke will let go and help the girl he likes to the person he is close with. Sakura, Sasuke said all of a sudden. Yes, Sakura replied, her back still at Sasuke. I'll help you with Neji. Sasuke said. Sakura froze. Uchiha Sasuke is offering her help with his rival. That's a fact. Well, she turned to look at him if he is serious. Too serious for her observation. His eyes shine in a different way. A way that looks like sadness. She managed to find her voice anyway. You sure? Sasuke just nodded and smiled bitterly. Sakura noticed this and can't help but feel guilty. I told you she likes him back. Thank you. Sakura wrapped her arms around Sasuke's waist involuntarily and she realized what she had done, blushed but did not withdraw. Nejisaku moment. Part 1. This will be our CHR. Istma's party and I want you now to call out the number you have pulled from the bowl earlier to claim your Christmas gift. Haruno Sakura's club moderator, as she calls him, Genma-sensei, sorry. I don't know what is his whole name. So I'll just put the reason at Sakura's point of view, said. Her club is called the Young Writers Guild. Sakura likes to write poetry and who inspires her most is Shakespeare. So far, she's the editor-in-chief. Considering her fame, no one voted her out of the position, which means she gets to write much poetry for their monthly literary, a little book collectee. On of the club's most beautiful works of word art. This is what you are going to do. You are going to say what number you got and say aloud a beautiful poetry you composed after that. Genma said, own groaning and complaining under their breaths. Of course, let's start with the editor-in-chief. Ms. Haruno. Sakura stood up and adjusted her glasses as she went to the center of the classroom. 16. Sakura said, hey, that's my gift. Sakura receives my gift. The boy from the second level said, making some boys glare at him. Sakura coughed loud enough to catch the attention of the class. Then she recited her poetry. This is called, When Dreams Don't Come True. I made this when I was back in freshman in my other school. She breathed deeply first before reciting. Like a leaf is flown from a tree. I surrender to the might of my fate. Down my knees I am, pleading to set me free. I long for the glimpse of success that had once crowned my fame. But that lost glory of mine, I no longer possess. There is no essence in my life. Being deprived in everything that it needs. And all I have now is this unending strife. Perhaps this public ignominy was destined to be my destiny. Yet, I dare to ask, can I not uncover the mask? The weak smile that I wear doesn't heal but is painful to hear. Now that I realize, unlike the shimmering dew, that is what happens when dreams don't come true. The club was quiet. No one spoke for a while. Then someone shouted, Sakura, that was beautiful as you are. A friend of the boy who shouted earlier said loudly. More shouts came and Genma became furious that he just cancelled the poetry reciting and proceeded to the gift exchanging. Sakura sat idly at her chair, looking at every direction. She felt a tap on her shoulder and looked around to see who tapped her. It was one of the boys earlier, different from the one that her present came from. A gift for the most beautiful angel I've ever seen, he said, handing Sakura a gift covered in a colorful wrapper. Sakura muttered a thanks, and soon enough, she received 4 more gifts but more letters. Then she heard the bell rang. She proceeded outside and stuffed all the gifts she received, not caring if its wrapper is crumpled or some part of it is torn. She still has to arrange her things for the college fair tomorrow, which is the day 1, free time. The next day is day 2, dance night. She's planning not to attend this one. And the third, day 3, band night. And the band is bad luck, Sasuke's band. She will be there, just to see how good Neji plays and compare him to Sasuke. Hey, she looked up and saw Sasuke and paper in his hand. For you. Sasuke handed Sakura the paper and Sakura looked at it. What am I supposed to do with a piece of junk? Sakura raised an eyebrow while adjusting her glasses. It's not a piece of junk. Read it, it's from Neji. Yeah. Sasuke walked off, leaving Sakura holding the paper with trembling hands. She decided to open it, and when she does, the words written on it surprised her. Would you like to be my date for the dance night? It's okay if you don't want to. Just pass your reply to Uchiha. Sayonara. Neji. He just asked me out. Sakura muttered, a small smile playing on her lips. Told you she likes you. Sasuke muttered. Sasuke and Neji hid in a classroom next to the meeting place of the Writers Guild. They were watching Sakura at the corner of their eyes, where Neji was shocked to see Sakura smile like that. Normally, she wouldn't smile, not if she's with Ino and the others. But no, there's no one beside her, and the only thing that kept her attention is that paper she's holding that Neji wrote for her. But, I thought she likes you because she kept having glances at you. Neji reasoned out. He tried to find more reasons that Sakura likes Sasuke, but he can't find any additional speculation other than that. Oh come on, just listen to the tone of her voice, then you'll see how much she hates me, and besides. Sasuke turned his back on Neji to face the blackboard situated in front of the classroom. I have no intention of courting a girl like her. He lied. Neji raised an eyebrow. Normally, Sasuke would love to have a competition with Neji, but this is different. She's walking past us, Neji muttered. Sasuke and Neji hid at the space of the wall, just next to the open sliding door. I know you're in there. Uchiha, please tell Neji that I would love to be his date at day 2. Sakura walked. Neji's eyes widened as he heard this, and glanced at Sasuke, who was wearing his usual pretty face. Smirking convincingly at Neji. After 2 days, the day 2, dance night. Sakura agreed to be fetched by Neji at her house, making her give her address to him through none other than Sasuke. After a few provokes and shouts, Sakura gave the address and said to Neji that Sakura wanted to be fetched at around 8 o'clock. Sasuke's date is Yamanaka Ino. Since Sakura pushed Sasuke to do it, Naruto with Hinata and Gaara. He didn't want to come. Gaara said it's too troublesome, in front of their manager, Shikamaru, making him earn a poke on the head, which was broadcasted in the Friday showbiz television. The students of Konoha High School are to wear casual clothes, and Sakura is not having trouble with what she is going to wear. She's a simple dresser. Just one glance at her closet. She can look good on a plain white shirt. What if now that Ino, the closet manager, is currently with her, wearing a violet sleeveless blouse that shows her flat stomach, with a pair of white, 3/4 pants, complete with black high heels. Now, Ino is Sakura's fashion designer, in which she made Sakura wear a pair of fitted blue pants and 3/4 long sleeves with a color of dark blue. She also lent Sakura step-ins that are 1.5 inch high, with glistening white stones with a background of black as the design. When Sakura wore it, she wore an annoyed look, but Ino didn't seem to care, nevertheless. Notice, if looks could kill, Ino would be dead as of now. Ino forced Sakura to take off her eyeglasses since she knows that Sakura visited her ophthalmologist Loss Week and said that the grade of her eyes is only 75, which leads Ino to a conclusion that Sakura wears glasses only because it looks good on her. But taking it off can make the difference. All these are just fine for Sakura, except for the fact that Tenten is upset with her for accepting Neji as her date when Sakura said she has no time for such. But Ino and Hinata stayed supportive on both day and are doing the best they can to patch up the friendship of the two. Make-up time. Sakura groaned as Ino left her sitting on a stool in front of Sakura's body-length mirror. Sakura pouted her lips as Ino came back, searching for different kinds of makeup available inside her bag. As a matter of fact, she has almost all of the different kinds of cosmetics in her bag that Sakura must know. Ino got a blush on and applied some of it on Sakura's pale cheeks, while Sakura had her eyes closed, wishing it would stop. Sakura is not the type of person who shouts, that's why she's fighting the urge to do so in front of a person who can tell a secret to the whole campus in a matter of minutes. Almost everything is finished, and Sakura is not having trouble with the makeup anymore. Ino complimented her for having peach skin, which made her smirk a bit. The makeup was light and not much pink powder is putted on her because of her complexion. What made Sakura look more wonderful is the her emerald green eyes sparkle against the light green eyeshadow Ino putted on her plus add up her glossy pink lipstick which dragged Sakura near perfection. It's already 7:32 and the only thing that is not yet done is Sakura's hair, which was tied up in a ponytail when Ino was putting makeup on Sakura's face. Having Sakura on their group made them one of the most famous group in the school, and Ino would always love that. That's why she's making Sakura as gorgeous as she can. Ino grabbed a brush and ran it through Sakura's pink hair, dividing it into two parts, leaving considerable nt of bangs on the side of Sakura's face, and started braided the left side, careful not to make a mistake in including Sakura's bangs, which took her almost a minute. She did the same thing to the other side and smiled at the outcome. But she's not yet done. She lifted the two up, making it create a loop, and Ino tied it up using an elastic band, as the bangs of Sakura remain in front. Sakura looked at herself in front of the mirror. It looks like the Sakura before, who would do anything with her hair to impress Morino Idate, but that was the past. Now Ino would do anything to help Sakura with the guy she likes. Ino doesn't know the fact that Sakura also likes Sasuke, because Sakura didn't tell anyone. No one knows and Sakura's blank face is enough to make everyone see that she's not hiding anything. The reason is that Sakura and Ino might also end up being rivals just like what happened between her and Tenten. Sakura snapped out of her trance when she heard a squeal, higher than Ino's. It belongs to her mother. Sakura, oh, my child looks so breathtaking. She hugged Sakura lightly, careful not to destroy Ino's masterpiece. Oh, before I forgot, Hyuga-san and Uchiha-san are waiting downstairs. It's so wonderful to have such an intelligent and beautiful child. Japan is so proud of you. Sakura rolled her eyes quickly and sighed. Tsuneji is already there, along with his mate, Sasuke. This is one heck of a night. Everything all right, Hyuga? Sasuke asked. Neji, ever since they both stepped foot on the carpet of the Harunos, often wipes his damped forehead. Who knew Yuga would be this nervous when singing in front of a million people is as easy as counting 1 to 10. Sasuke chuckled slightly. One of his best mates could act so weirdly around a girl, unlike him. Who could even court a girl even though they hardly knew each other? But he tried to hide the tone of jealousy in his voice when he asked if Neji is alright. Neji just nodded, but not a simple nod. He nodded continuously, stopping when Sasuke raised a hand to show that he understood what Neji meant. Neji sighed deeply. Sure, Sasuke stopped his moves on Sakura, but he is still not sure whether Sasuke is serious about giving up when Neji likes someone Sasuke also likes. It's so rare. Usually they would end up shouting with each other that even Shikamaru couldn't handle. Their manager would be too lazy to stop them. Heck, even their co-members will be too lazy to stop them because it is natural when the two would bicker because of a certain girl. This happens when they are at a certain country away from their own. Well, about Sasuke giving up on courting a girl, it happens only and only at Japan. Neji doesn't have a clue of what Sasuke is up to together with Sakura. It's because Sakura asked him not to breathe a word to anyone. Sasuke agreed reluctantly after earning a burning slap on the face from her. Loud footsteps could be heard, causing Sasuke and Neji to turn their heads towards the direction. Sasuke first saw Sakura's mother, her smile reaching her ears. Next is Ino's figure, holding another hand, which looks like Sakura's. Sasuke, whose date is Ino, just glanced at her once. But his breath was knocked out of him when he saw Sakura. The same thing happened to Neji. They both muttered a small, wow. Sakura never looked that way before. Her professional-looking res were replaced by an innocent one of an angel that has the power to knock the breath out of people at a long range. The dark blue 3/4 blouse Sakura is wearing contrasted with pink which looks good on her. The makeup putted on her is very light, it's because it's not needed much, and Sakura's complexion is already peach. Sasuke heard a cough and turned to its direction. It came from Ino, who came to him and took his arm. wheeling him out of the house as she waved goodbye to Sakura, who didn't seem to notice because she is gazing down at Neji, who wore plain red t-shirt and pair of pants with a chain visible, glistening against the light. His hair is still the same, on a loose ponytail, and he is wearing a necklace that is silver with the letters BL on it. It stands for bad luck. Neji neared the stairs and at the same time, Sakura went down, and stopped in front of each other. Neji asked for Sakura's hand, which she gave slowly. He brought it up to his face and beeped it lightly, his white eyes never leaving Sakura's emerald ones. Sakura felt herself blush slightly, adding up to the color of her face, but offered Neji a small smile. Neji returned the smile and asked wordlessly if Sakura is ready to go. Unaware of Sakura's mother standing at the foot of the stairs, just next to Neji, who seems to be controlling her laughter. Sakura nodded slowly and Neji offered his arms to Sakura, who took it willingly and they both set off. Neji-saku moment. Part 2. The coldness in Neji's car added up to the silence of the two, who seems to act as if they were alone. The music being played at the radio is Letterbomb, the latest song Bad Luck recorded. An audible sigh escaped from Sakura's mouth, though she's unaware of it herself. She had been staring outside the window of the car, watching the trees they were able to pass by sway with the strong wind brought by the speed of the car. Neji automatically stopped the car when they reached their destination. He can tell Sakura is bored with him, and it made him nervous. As if on a cue, Sakura asked, "Are you bored with me?" She asked, her green orbs showing curiousness and nervousness at the same time, though the nervousness doesn't show that much, or maybe Neji was just imagining things because it was gone once he smiled at her as his reply to her query. "I'm sorry for not being a good host." Neji's smile widened as he said this. Sakura replied not at all, and Neji understood it. Sakura doesn't really like talking to boys or just plain uncomfortable around them. Then, Neji has this sensation that he doesn't want to be in the event. So he asked Sakura about it. "I don't want to be here in the first place. I've literally turned down all invites I've received, except yours, of course." She added quickly with a smile. "I see." Neji tried to think of words to say, but only these words managed to escape his mouth. Then, an idea came to his mind. "Do you want to go somewhere else? I mean, movie or something else?" "A movie would be great, but what about the others?" Sakura said, raising a delicate eyebrow. "As if they would try to find us." Neji smirked, but took it off quickly. He doesn't want to make Sakura see the bad boy thing in him, or most likely, in bad luck. "They would," Sakura replied, but added, "All right, they won't. Let's go," Neji said, opening the door of the car for Sakura. "Where the hell did those two went?" Ino muttered to Sasuke, who seems to be in deep thought. "Uchiha, having no girlfriend means losing to Hyuga this year. Do you want that?" Sasuke's mind played tricks on him again. "I mean, you've been literally winning with him for the past 2 years. Seriously, you wouldn't want that." "Ino, do you want to be, I mean," Sasuke faked a nervous tone as he pointed him and Ino, as if saying, "Together." Ino said stupidly. "Surely, does she know the word, pickup? Can't you get it?" Sasuke sighed deeply when she slowly shook her head. "I said, can we be together? I mean, you and me, or should I say, can we have a relationship more than friends?" It took a while before it registered to Ino's mind, then, she fainted. "Troublesome," Sasuke muttered, then sighed. "Great, I'm sounding like old Shikamaru here." He shook his head. At least he had someone to take his mind off Sakura for a while. Neji and Sakura went out of the mall at around 10:30. The mall is nearly closing, so they hurried, but no one is saying a word because of the incident earlier. "Gerard, what the?" The character called Gerard beeped Ashley, and Sakura felt her stomach do a flip-flop. Her eyes are not blinking as she tried to stop the threatening tears in her eyes. She's not aware that Neji had been watching her almost the whole time, especially when his attention will be transferred to her because of her soft gasps whenever the moment of the movie becomes tense. Ashley. Mikey, Ashley's boyfriend, came into the scene, his face full of sadness. Not a trace of fury, but sadness. Mikey adjusted his eyeglasses and turned around, his handsome face reflecting pure misery. Neji felt a warm and soft hand on top of his. Knowing it is Sakura, she took her hand and stroked it lightly, pulling Sakura's attention away from the movie. Sakura blinked twice as Neji was stunned by her emerald eyes. The wonders of the shining emerald green petrify him each time he looks at it with full eyes. He began leaning closer as Sakura half closed her eyes, patiently waiting for Neji's move on her. The moment her lips touched his, she fully closed her eyes, concentrating on the intense moment that is really happening to her, not just on the movie. She pulled away hastily and looked down, as if she'd found something wonderful with the floor. "I'm sorry," Neji muttered as he too looked away. He heard her mutter an, "It's okay," and he felt relieved. Bad surprise. The elections are up and the students are looking at the registration form posted on the bulletin board for third-year students. The selected color for Sakura's batch is blue, so, as they look at the posted note, which is printed on a blue paper, the people are bumping into each other as they made their way in front of the board. The sign says, "Want to be the leader you've always wanted to be. Sign up the registration form to be given to those students who are capable of leading the class by their own class advisors on their own free will. Everyone is willing to enter. For more information, please ask the council supervisor, Hitaki Kakashi-sensei." Thank you for reading. Sakura read this announcement, together with Hinata. Since they met early in the morning along the sidewalk, and Ino and Tenten are nowhere out of sight. Tenten had managed to forgive Sakura, with Sakura keeping the fact about what happened at that time when they skipped the dance night. As expected, Sakura didn't attend the band night since she said it is a waste of time. Sure enough, Sasuke's band, Bad Luck, took most of the time talking. It's because all of the songs they sang were new, for added information. "Sakura, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Hinata asked all of the sudden. Sakura's head turned towards her with a questioning look plastered on her face. "What?" Sakura said, making Hinata smile a bit. "You could run for president of our class. Or maybe run for other positions if you don't want to become president." Hinata replied, and many other ideas entered Sakura's mind if ever she will run for a position. Sakura is to ask another question to Hinata, but then the bell rang. The "Why too hurried to class" as the first bell means preparation for everything that is needed in class. The second bell is the start of the first subject, and so on. Sakura opened the door of the classroom, and the class went quiet. Then, they laughed because they thought it was the principal of the school, who was scheduled to explain the mechanics of how one can enter the student council. Sakura went to her place, and sighed. "Yeah, I remembered. Bad Luck is going to have a shooting for their new song. At last, peace is here. Third-year students, please line up properly outside your classroom and head towards the Konoha auditorium." "Thank you," a voice echoed through the microphone set up all over the school. Sakura led the class outside. Over the months that had passed, Sakura executed great leadership. One look from her will make everyone obey and be quiet. But, usually, it will be broken by Sasuke or Naruto. How simple. They can make the whole class laugh by a simple yawn or anything done simple. But today, the troublemakers are out of sight, making the whole class quiet during the line. Only a few murmurs can be heard of the corridor from their class, the rest of the noise came from the other sections. After a few more minutes, the line started moving towards the school auditorium. Sakura led the class once more as she was assigned by their class advisor as the temporary president. While on the way, she was debating whether to really act on what Hinata had suggested earlier. Does she really possess the ability to become the president of the class? Yes, she's only a newcomer, so what? She had shown the ability of an effective leader, no doubt about that. This trimester she is sure she had no grade lower than 85% in all subjects, plus her conduct grade is very high. All she needs now is to really try to get into that council. She had lots of ideas to change, add, and subtract from the original rules, which she thinks is for the better of the school. The moment they reached the air-conditioned auditorium of the school, it was almost half full, and the student council supervisor, Hitaki Kakashi, went their way and led their class to the middle of the auditorium. Sakura inhaled the cool air of the said place. It is relaxing. Once she sat down, the place gives an atmosphere that tempts people to sleep. Sakura will have to stay awake for the requirements of how you can be the president or vice president of the class. When you won, Then, try to remember the needs of being part of the student council. The auditorium began to have a dim light, and the source is coming from the stage, and Kakashi stood up on stage and assembled the microphone for everyone to hear. It's already 9 a.m. The program should have started 30 minutes ago, and he woke up from his light slumber. Sakura then sat up straight, her mind ready to take note of the important things to do. Boys, the shooting is cancelled, Shikamaru said, letting out a tired sigh. We went here early in the morning just to find out that our supposed to be director is sick. Don't let them hear you talk that way. Gaara grinned. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you don't talk that way behind me, Shikamaru replied, giving the driver the instruments the band was supposed to use. We don't do it that way. We're too polite, Sasuke said, receiving a clap from Neji and Naruto's hands with his. Shikamaru rolled his eyes. Anyway, where are we going? Gigs, rehearsal, anything? Naruto asked. At this question, Neji's eyes started to become hopeful. You're going to attend school. I told you, you must not miss it unless needed, Shikamaru replied, getting into the front seat of the car. Alrighty-o, Neji said. Where the hell did those two went? Sakura muttered silently. She had an application form in her hand, an initial move to run for a certain position. She had written there the essay of, how can you be a good leader to others? Plus her advisor gave her the recommendation letter to run. Not to mention she had completed her application form, indicating at the back that she is to run for the position of president of her class. Now, she still has to ask in. And Tenten about it before she is to pass the requirements to Kakashi. Sakura acted to be angry earlier at lunchtime when the bad luck members entered the class with the bang. Her idiot classmates clapped their hands, thinking that the band had yet done another wonderful and amazing masterpiece of music video. But she felt as if her heart soared with joy when she saw Sasuke enter last. No, the part when Neji entered did her heart soar for joy, it's the part of Sasuke. Why did she feel that? She, herself, doesn't know the answer. Ask others, they can say, it's love. But as you know of wide readers, love is just a mere figment of imagination, a magical imagination. And Sakura belongs to that kind of group. Now Sasuke disappeared, along with Ino. They had disappeared at the same time. Okay, let's say they disappeared at almost the same time. Sakura couldn't help but feel curious. First, the very first person she ever stuck up with is her. It's normal that they would talk first thing in the morning. Second, why would they both disappear almost at the same time when the other band members of Bad Luck don't even know where Sasuke went to? But Sakura know that Sasuke's co-members know something. They had this something in their smile that makes Sakura suspicious. Sakura shrugged, thinking it'll be a waste of time if she is to still try to find Ino at this time. She should have gone home earlier. And she's 20 minutes late with her plan. She hurried to the council office, where the student council meetings take place. Sakura opened the door and looked left. Hinata said that there's another door once she looked to the left if she opens the main door. There it is in front of her. It is the place where Kakashi makes his plans first before putting them in the main table. And that is the object that meets people each time they are to open the main door. Sakura breathed deeply, thinking that once she opened that door, there will be no turning back. She walked a few more steps, and saw that the door was left ajar. She pushed it slowly and looked back. She thought she heard a voice, more like a moan. She shrugged it off. There can't be any real ghosts, can it? She entered into a more ventilated room, and the door didn't make any sounds. She left the door on what they look like and went deeper into the room. She turned right and there's a room. Then she gasped, Sasuke, Ino. Sakura muttered to herself, but loud enough to be heard by the other two, who were unaware of Sakura's sudden presence. A ritual gone good or bad? The two are completely, why oblivious of what's happening around them, seeing that they are heatedly making out. When Ino opened her eyes and pulled away from Sasuke to catch her breath, that's when she tapped Sasuke silently. And he looked at her through the corner of his eye before Sakura realized that he avoided her gaze or found something interesting in the cabinet full of trophies of Kakashi alone. Hi, Sakura, Ino said in monotone. Sakura hadn't had time to talk back since Kakashi came into view with Hinata behind him, an envelope in Kakashi's hand, similar to Sakura's, clearly belonging to Hinata. Sakura walk. Ed passed Kakashi and stopped in front of Sakura, whispering that Hinata will be waiting for her. Hinata took Sakura's silence as a yes and walked off without saying a word to Sasuke or Ino, nor gave an why recognition that she has seen the two of them. Anyway, Sakura, I know you have come here to pass your applications. I've been expecting that. But I'm certainly not expecting you to, Mr. Uchiha and Ms. Yamanaka. You have been here about. He rolled his sleeves slightly and peeked in his watch, 20 minutes ago. We were just looking at the trophies. Sasuke gestured towards the cabinet he was looking at earlier. Then, I think 20 minutes is enough for looking at all of them. You may go, Kakashi said. Just as when Ino is about to exit the door, she looked back at Sakura and Izabu. To tell her something when Kakashi continued, go. Ino pouted and called to Sasuke. Sakura heard it and tried to cover what she felt by taking off her glasses and wiping them on the edge of her handkerchief she had almost forgot she brought that day. It's just that I hate it when Ino didn't tell me what's going on. I mean, I know that myself, forgot about telling her about Neji, but IAC. Tuuli told her what happened, why we were not able to come on that stupid event. Sakura took off her glasses and putted it inside her pocket. Maybe she just forgot, Hinata said as she tucked a lock of hair at the back of her ear. Wish I could really drop off the subject and Sasuke and Ino. Sakura looked beyond her hopelessly. The sun is setting now and she left Kakashi's office at exactly 5:30. And she still has to study for their first exams next week. Before I forgot, had Ino told you about the sleepover we are going to have at Saturday? Hinata asked as Sakura furrowed her brow in confusion. Sleepover. Yeah. Sleepover. You know, pillows, movies. The whole is going to be there, too, on Neji's option, I suppose. So I thought it would be nice if girls should go too. Mom and Dad are away anyway. Hinata smiled hopefully at Sakura. They are reaching Hinata's house now. I guess, Sakura said without really thinking. What we are going to do is very dangerous, Sakura heard one Saturday night at Hinata's room, with lights shut off and a candle is held each by Sakura, Hinata and Ino. They are standing at a full-length mirror they borrowed from Hinata's parents' room and their images are blurry. Her glasses can't be seen anywhere, so she decided she must have dropped it while walking with Hinata. This mirror still needs some wiping, Hinata said while taking a towel from her drawer and poured a small amount of alcohol in it. She wiped the mirror and looked at herself in it. The blurry image is wiped off, replaced by a clear one. The flame on her candle moves on its own as she sighed off the nervousness she's feeling. Okay, we are going to see. Sakura gestured at the mirror, and continued, who we are going to marry someday, or maybe whom destiny had for us. That's ridiculous. I mean, we only read it in a book, right? Ino tried to hide the uneasiness in her voice but failed. It's all right to be afraid. We have to do it one by one. Sakura said. Ino shook furiously. But the girl in the book is alone. Sakura heard Hinata say, she's all alone. One mistake, we'll either see the devil. Sakura turned her head towards the mirror, watching her vivid reflection in it. Or the witch. There were moments of silence, and soon, Ino found her voice. I'm out. I'm quitting. You Hinata. Hinata breathed deeply. Sakura watched her eyes, clearly showing deep confusion. Well, Ino said impatiently, I'm staying. I'm curious about my future, that's why I'm staying, Hinata said, slightly tightening her grip on the candle. Okay, Ino, you may wait outside with Hinata. I'll go first, Sakura said, but Hinata held a hand up, stopping Sakura. I'll go first. Sakura looked at her. There was uneasiness and fright in her eyes earlier, now replaced by heavy determination. Go ahead. Sakura nodded and grabbed Ino by the arm outside Hinata's room and closed the door quietly. At Neji's room. Neji, why is Hinata's room dark? Naruto said as he peeked through Neji's room window. I don't know. Another woman thing. Neji shrugged while he watched Sasuke snort. Then let's have a guy thing. All heads turned towards Sasuke. What do you mean? Gaara said, his brow twitching, while Sasuke's sweat dropped. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I just thought. I saw Naruto-kun. Hinata blushed. In front of the mirror. Sakura and Ino asked, In front of the mirror. Hinata replied, blushing even more as she mentioned the face and giggled slightly as Ino and Sakura looked at each other. Ino gulped. I'll try it, Ino whispered. Sure thing. Sakura nodded. Good luck, said Hinata, extinguishing the candle by blowing it. A few minutes later, Ino came out with a furious look on her face. No one came out, and all I heard is the wind blowing my beautiful hair onto my more beautiful face. And I had miscounted 52 to 54, that's why I started it again. And then this happens. My hair is ruined, Ino said. Wait a minute, Sakura whispered. She had been sure of it. I closed the window earlier, I'm positive. Well, there it is, Ino said, trying to smooth down her hair. Maybe it was just another similar window. Yeah, maybe, Sakura sighed. Well, it's my turn now. Sakura entered the room with a candle lit in her hand, and made her way towards the full-length mirror of Hinata. As Ino had said, the window is open and the wind is blowing in a moderate way, but strong enough to extinguish her candle. She inhaled and exhaled deeply at her image in the mirror. She whispered a few incantations as directed in the book they read earlier, and none happened. Just as she was about to turn around, she saw something moving from behind her in the mirror. The raven locks look familiar. The pale complexion is another thing. Sakura is starting to have a shrewd idea on who is the guy. She decided not to turn in case it might be the devil, but the image spoke to her. Fancy seeing you, Ms. Haruno. Admiring your looks even at this time of the night. Sakura gasped slightly. She was kind of speechless. The tone was the same. The person you are going to see at the mirror in the middle of the night, magical or not, will be the one destiny has for you. And your glasses are missing once more. May I ask where it is? He said. It's none of your business. Sakura found herself saying. She slowly turned around. The ritual is non-magical. It's true. Ha, I petrified you. It's a record then, Sasuke said. So the Naruto earlier, he also went through the window, Sakura began to glue together the pieces of the puzzle in her mind. Yup, so, Sakura didn't respond fast. She looked at the window and made her way towards it. From Neji's room, right? No other place, Sasuke replied, making his way towards Sakura. But it could be dangerous. It has a 3-story risk and you guys might fall, Sakura said, looking down, but suddenly, 2 hands held her arms tightly. But we're ready to take the risk if an angel is there to catch us. Sasuke moved closer towards her. That's what we call falling in love. Sakura's words never left her. She knew as that Sasuke is beeping her with the wind rejoicing around them. The ritual, I wish it would last. Back again. Beep. Sakura thought. This is wrong. So wrong. Sasuke asked for entrance to Sakura's mouth, tracing the delicate outline of her lower lip, but Sakura instantly pulled away. The candle she's holding almost toppled over, but it was already extinguished when the wind blew it, so no harm is done whilst it almost fell down. What? Sasuke whispered slightly, his breath ragged. He tried to rest onto Sakura's forehead for support, but Sakura pulled away. This is not appropriate. You and Ino-chan are technically together. You two have a relationship. Aren't you one bit ashamed of what you did? Sakura said in a whisper. One loud sound and the girls outside may know that the cheater and bastard is inside the room, together with Sakura. But you liked it. Sasuke shrugged. Sakura felt her blood boil as she punched Sasuke in the nose at a fast and furious manner with the hand that has a candle in it. The candle snapped cleanly into 2 as Sakura hurriedly went for the door. As Sasuke noticed that Sakura is leaving, he grabbed the rope outside and he let himself be pulled up by his friends. Damn that, Sasuke whispered as he almost stumbled onto Neji's carpeted floor, some blood falling down. What happened? Neji asked as he threw a towel towards Sasuke. I thought I saw something move out of nowhere. Then I bumped my nose into the wall. Sasuke wiped the blood and hung his head to try to stop the blood. I tried to investigate more but I saw nothing. So much for a broken nose. That's all right, mate. Nothing serious, Gaara said. What took you? Ino complained. You've been there for 10 minutes. Sorry, can't help it, Sakura said sarcastically. Can't help what? Ino asked. Nothing. I already told you. Sasuke Tem would just dump you like any other girl. Tenten tried to comfort Ino, who was crying hysterically on her desk at school. But I thought IIC could change him, Ino said, and then wailed loudly as she buried herself once more in her hands. Some people are looking at her, together with Sakura, Tenten and Hinata. Come on, Ino-chan, cheer up. Look, Hinata-chan can take care of that. Sakura joked. Her glasses are not present, her reason. It's because she can't afford time to buy another. Her hair is also down today, earning her quite a number of glances, mostly from boys both in her class and others. Sakura-chan, you know perfectly well that I can't, but Hinata was cut off by Tenten. Oh, come on, we all know that behind your quiet demeanor, you have the guts and the spunk to kick Naruto-san on the face. Tenten said, making Ino smile a little and Hinata blush hard. Do you really think so? Hinata whispered. We know so. Sakura rolled her eyes. Class, back to your seats. The bell rang already. Kakashi, their substitute teacher to Mr. Sarutobi, said, it's you who is late. Sakura muttered under her breath. I heard that, Ms. President, Kakashi said, as he looked at Sakura over his orange book, which made Sakura look at him back in disgust. Sakura had been elected president by unanimous decision. Ino as vice president, Gaara as the secretary, Hinata as the treasurer, and Hajime Amakusa as the beadle. Take your science book and read pages 135 to 148. Kakashi said, not averting his attention on the book. Just another boring day, Sakura thought as some students groaned in frustration. Sakura, the modeling company called. Shall I tell them to call back? Sakura's mom, Omen. I don't know Sakura's parents' names. No need, Mom, I'll be there in a jiffy. Sakura said, while wondering why a modeling company should call her. A year had passed. Sakura is now a fourth-year student, and she changed a lot. Hanging out with Ino, Tenten and Hinata. Ino had entered a modeling company who calls themselves Chakra Modeling Corporation. Ino is sometimes featured in some mangas. Inesan now considers herself heartthrob. Hinata is Naruto's girlfriend now, making her quite popular in the showbiz industry, and a well-liked TV station is asking for her to be part of their show. Tenten competes in an archery competition in which she became the representative of Japan to fight in the mini-Olympics, composing of some other Asian countries. And Sakura, still the same. She is reviewing for the upcoming competition next week held in Russia, where, incidentally, the band, Bad Luck, will have their next concert, Bad Luck, The Return. Nara Shikamaru, Bad Luck manager, offer Ed a free ride on the plane that the band will hop on, meaning, she'll join Sasuke, Neji, Gaara, and Naruto on the plane. Neji moved on. He had let go of his feelings for Sakura, and vice versa, but remained friends. Gaara is still the same, and is planning to enter the world of acting. Naruto is a TV host of a singing rock competition, where the contenders fight with each other, singing rock music. And Sasuke, the most successful in the group, is featured in a movie, sometimes a guest in Naruto's show and a model. Sasuke is also, as Sakura noticed, more distant, getting quieter, and more serious. Sakura also seen him avoiding girls, well, except when it came to her and her friends, but he's not that crazy as he was before. Hello. Sakura's heart stomped wildly inside her. She had wanted to be in a modeling company ever since she's heard Sasuke's there. She had developed the feeling of sticking to one person and decided to let go of her feelings for Neji, but it seems like Sasuke stopped his. Ms. Haruno, this is Chakra Modeling Company and we would like to invite you to a one-year contract with us. Are you interested? A woman's cool voice said. It took a few seconds for the words to register in Sakura's head. Then she replied, oh of course I am. Sakura said, so stupid, I shouldn't stutter. Ms. Haruno, for more information, please visit us at, the voice said, as Sakura took down notes. Thank you, we hope to see you soon. Me too, Sakura thought. Ms. Haruno, a voice said. Sakura turned around and saw the Bad Luck's manager, Shikamaru. What business brings you here? This company called, asking for a one-year contract. I agreed, seeing that I need more reasons to spend my time, not wasting it. Sakura shrugged. I see, they have not told you the real reason. or who requested for a 1-year contract to be given to you? What? Who? Sakura asked suddenly, her eyes deeply into Shikamaru's. Me, of course. Sakura turned around and her eyes widened. Tisk, tisk quarrel. Sakura felt the wind knock out of her. There, in front of her, stood Morino Idate, the cause of her alteration. She narrowed her eyes and tried to think of a way to get away from the position. Walking away is not wise. Considering that she doesn't know the place, plus it would seem rude to Shikamaru, who was forced to let go of his troublesome attitude for a while. Shouting is not good too. She would only embarrass herself in front of world-class people, not to mention world-class good-looking models. Surprised, my little cherry blossom, Idate said. Sakura felt the blood rush to her head and she felt awed. Bearing in mind that she isn't standing upside down to feel this way. When Sakura didn't reply, Idate continued, My, you haven't changed one bit. Petal hair, stunning bright green eyes. Except you've grown a bit taller. Splendid. Now, will you go out with me? Go out with yourself, dunce. Sakura muttered, while Idate chuckled slightly. And with striking personality. Nara-san, she signed the contract earlier, nay? Idate asked, putting his hands inside each of his pockets. Yeah. Shikamaru sighed inwardly, and thought. Troublesome. Good thing. Ino-chan mentioned something about Haruno Sakura being a classmate of hers. That's how I found you, if that's what you're wondering. Idate saw Sakura's right eye twitch. He smirked as he continued. She also mentioned of how you became a close friend of Hyuga-san and Uchiha-san. At this, Sakura's head shot up. Interested in Sasuke-san, huh? He's a good guy, that Uchiha. Always. Idate inched closer to Sakura. And Sakura backed off a step, cool, silent. Sakura glared at Idate. Shikamaru, noticing how uncomfortable the situation goes, broke the unnerving silence with a fake cough and said, Haruno-san. You will be Morino-san's co-model for a while. Shikamaru regretted he said it. What? A director shot up his head and walked angrily towards their direction. What do you think you are doing, miss? My photographer has a very weak heart and all the pictures he is taking are dumb. All dumb. So please, will you give him something to thank you for? The director, who seems to be in 50-something years, startled Sakura. A man came towards their direction, wearing a pair of black sunglasses with unmistakably well-toned body came in their direction. Direct. There is no need for that, he said. Sasuke finished doing the pictorials. At the sound of the name, Sakura's head shot up, away from her deadly glare for Idate. Yeah, we're still not able to finish it. We'll return next week. The duo the director asked for you to send is still not there. So we just started on my solo pics. Sasuke replied, as a matter of fact. Shikamaru widened his eyes at the director, who was looking at him with deadly eyes. It's Haruno Sakura-san here, and Morino Idate-san. Shikamaru said, pointing at the other two. Sasuke smirked. Nice seeing you here, Sakura. The director looked at them. Then he turned around and walked away from them, muttering words they could hear. He says, a loud-mouthed bitch and a boastful ass-faced. How thick could you get? So, congratulations, you've just partnered with a brat. Sasuke said to Sakura, irony clearly seen. He had agreed to drive Sakura home in his car and they are both in the backseat. The driver turned on the radio. I know, Sakura replied, sighing audibly. He's my ex-boyfriend. Sasuke looked inquiringly at Sakura. He's your what? My ex-boyfriend. Sakura replied, looking through the window. Sasuke didn't reply. He remembered seeing the picture of Sakura and that Morino Idate. So he was the reason why Sakura is cold before. Ino told him when she was still his girlfriend. I really don't care. I mean, I could quit if I want. It's not like I've been begging my mom for actually letting me in that modeling company. It's like. Sakura was cut off by Sasuke. Will you shut up for a moment? I'm trying to think here. Sasuke snapped. Sakura looked at him with wide eyes. Uchiha Sasuke never yells, especially to a girl. She heard him mutter, you're so annoying. Sakura glared at him. Stop this car, now, Sakura said to the driver with a threatening voice. At once, the driver stopped. Where are you going? Sasuke asked, slightly standing from his seat. Anywhere but here. Sakura replied, closing the door behind her with a bang while deciding to walk the way. I mean, he actually screamed at me. Can you believe that? Sakura said to Neji later on the phone. They have grown close and now Neji is like a big brother to Sakura. Neji didn't reply at first. Sakura thought it was a good sign. Usually, when Neji doesn't reply when you ask him advice, he is thinking. Some people who lack patience actually walk off. So whatever they asked for was not said to them. And man, Neji advises so well. Maybe he has another mood swing. I mean, the modeling. His co-partners didn't show up, right? So maybe he want the modeling to end, but he's upset because instead of being finished, you guys have to continue next week. For all we know, Sasuke has a very hectic schedule right now. Neji took Sakura's silence as a sign to go on. He is a guest at Naruto's show this week. The concert is coming up and, oh no, I'm not yet studying for the competition. Why is it that I always forget? Sakura technically screamed on the phone. I think you need to study for a while. In 2 weeks, your competition and the band's concert will be on the same day, but different time, right? Neji asked on the line. Sakura blinked. Yeah. So, we'll try and encourage you back there. Neji replied. No, I mean, the place might go down. Sakura could almost feel that Neji has his brow furrowed. Go down. Yeah, you know, when people sees you, they will, you know, not pay attention to the program and ask autographs to you. Anyways, the people will be on one side, the side in which you're in, and you would be in trouble. Trouble is bad luck's doing. Bad luck gives trouble a whole new meaning, so it can't screw us up. Sakura pouted on the line. Alright, call you later. See you, you perv. The 3 days before the competition and the concert came. The band got to the airport, which was packed with people already, carrying banners with pictures of the band. Some even carried banners that say, good luck. Haruno Sakura. Sakura wanted to laugh at the irony of it all. She's with the band who called themselves Bad Luck, but people greets her, good luck. Funny how time seems to fly. Here we are sitting once again in this cold plain of Garas, just to go to some throat-tiring concert. Naruto remarked as he set down his bag and his drumstick case next to him, while he sits next to the window, waving at the people being restrained by some guards. Shikamaru asked each of them if they are comfortable, and asked them to wear their seatbelts properly. Sakura pulled her jacket closer to her body as the air conditioner was activated. She asked Neji to sit with her the day before to talk about things. Sakura blushes each time Neji mentions something about locking her and Sasuke in Sasuke's hotel room for a night. Unfortunately for them, Sasuke left his original seat and transferred right behind them. He saw how Sakura and Neji fights with arm wrestling. And how Neji said that he did not even broke a sweat when he won, and how Sakura retaliated by saying that the plane is fully air-conditioned. Sasuke smirked. They are in their last year in high school and she's still as childish as ever. Sasuke shot his head up as he heard Sakura speak once more. Nay, Neji-san, Sasuke-kun seems to be more distant than ever. Neji furrowed his brows once more. Really, it's not only you, also to us. He saw Sakura's eyes widen a little. Yeah, I guess bad luck is going down. Sakura averted her gaze to the red carpet down the aisle. Bad luck is going down. When they are already this successful. Anyway, most bands disband mainly because they are already very successful. Neji sighed. And we're not that successful. Sakura looked at him with an incredulous look. Don't be silly. You guys are great, Sakura said, putting a hand on Neji's shoulder and patting it numerous times, each one getting harder than the first. Hey, stop that. My skin's burning. Neji smirked as Sakura giggled slightly and looked outside. There aren't many clouds in the sky at 6 o'clock in the morning, lucky for them as Sakura had the view of the people outside. Sakura waved a little and felt that they are screaming, shouting at the top of their lungs. Fortunately, for them, they can't hear the people outside because maybe they'll break their eardrums. Shikamaru emerged from the other room and said, settle down now, guys. We're going to take flight. Shikamaru sighed, and it will be troublesome. Neji lowered his head and whispered to Sakura, he's airsick. Then arranged his jacket properly to act like nothing is wrong. Sasuke saw all this and sighed. He needs to decide what he is going to do at the concert sooner, not later. Russia, here I am. Naruto said. He hugged his jacket closer to his body. Honestly, does it really have to be this cold here? The band and Sakura went down the plane. A loud group of shouts greeted them. Sakura walked beside Shikamaru from behind as many girls shot her glares, but some boys even pointed at her and shouted her name. See, you're famous. Even dear old Russia saw the product you, Idate and Sasuke endorsed. Sakura smiled a little as Shikamaru said it. Oh yeah, Sasuke complimented you when he saw the result of the pictorial. She said you're hot. Sakura felt her cold cheeks warm a little. But she hugged herself a little more. The tinge of red on her cheeks could be reasoned up for the cold season. But she really couldn't believe how Sasuke could say the words Shikamaru said if he is keeping his distance from them. Neji suggested to Sakura that she talk to Sasuke once the band comes back from the mall tour. Sakura remembered that they'd be back by 8 o'clock since they still got a lot to do. Neji wouldn't bother saying to Sakura. She made her way towards Sasuke's hotel room. Okay, here goes nothing. Sakura rang the bell to Sasuke's hotel room. She waited for a few seconds but no sound came. That's odd. Neji said they'd be back by now, she thought. She held the doorknob and turned it, thinking twice about what she's doing when somebody from the other side of the room opened the door. Sasuke opened the door fast, not knowing that the person outside is holding the doorknob really tight. He opened it and Sakura almost toppled over when she was pulled along with the door being opened. She was surprised when Sasuke revealed himself topless, with only a towel covering his body. Sakura gulped hard and struggled to form a smile to Sasuke, conscious to the fact that the corridor in which she is in suddenly turned hot. Hi, can I talk to you for a moment? Sakura managed to say. Sasuke just shrugged and went out of the way for Sakura to enter. Once Sakura had walked inside, he closed the door. Sakura let herself wander for a moment around the room. She could almost feel Sasuke's piercing gaze from behind her, but then, she thought, she could be wrong. She saw a thick wad of paper on the bedside table. On the first page there is a song. It has a title written on it, Sugar, We're Going Down. As she flipped the page, she saw another title, Basket Case. When she was about to flip the next sheet, a hand stopped her from doing so, and she had a very shrewd idea on who it is. Sakura looked up and saw that Sasuke already putted on a pair of black pants, but still topless. Can't let you spoil the concert. Sasuke smirked as he prepared himself for Sakura's retaliation. I'm not that nosy. You are quite nosy, Sasuke reasoned back. Sakura putted her hands on each side of her hips, and gave Sasuke an icy glare, giving her a look very much like an angry mother. Sasuke chuckled. He loves it when she does that. What are you laughing at? Sakura said in a threatening manner. But all Sasuke did was grin a little more. Sakura started to get really pissed off but found herself off balance a few moments later. Sasuke had pushed her on the bed, leaving her hair scattered all around the bed. With a still topless Sasuke on top of her, Sasuke found both of her wrists while giving Sakura a look that made her squirm under his gaze. Sasuke lowered his face towards Sakura's left ear, slightly nibbling on it and started licking it in a playful manner when he felt Sakura shiver a little. She still tried to fight him and he eventually let go of his wrists and got ready for a pain on his cheek. But it didn't came. Instead, one of her hand took hold of a handful of his hair and pushed him closer to her body, while the other went to his back, slowly traveling its way downwards. But then the door opened and someone said, "Room service." Sakura pushed Sasuke off and saw the woman clearly in a state of shock. "Maybe I'll come back later," and quickly closed the door. "That girl is new." Sasuke shook his head and caught Sakura's eye. "What, pervert?" Sakura stomped off. Sasuke's brow furrowed. Why was she here anyway? Sasuke said to no one in particular and sighed. Women. Sasuke fell back on his bed, slightly closing his eyes, and soon, fell asleep. The competition. Have you reviewed earlier? Neji asked Sakura when they were at the backstage. The competition will start soon and Sakura is having trouble breathing. Of course I reviewed, Sakura thought, but she can't say it aloud. Shikamaru-san. Glass of water. Please, and give it to Sakura. Neji turned once more to Sakura. Sasuke-san said he'll try to catch up, maybe in the middle of the competition. He still has to prepare for the concert this night. Sakura blinked. I think you guys should go and practice for tonight. Nah, we've practiced enough. Naruto's awesome, by the way, when you were reviewing back at the hotel. He looks like he is holding an auto shotgun. Bam, bam, bam. Neji did an act of holding a gun and firing it at random, but it has no effect on Sakura. Sakura tried to smile a bit but failed to do so. Her hands quickly reached out for the plastic cup, being held to her and rapidly drank all of its contents. After that, she lost her hold on the cup and it fell on the floor. Shikamaru looked down at the cup below Sakura and said, "Good thing I said we just needed a plastic cup." When he caught Neji's disapproving look, he closed his mouth. Come on, Sakura-chan. You've done better before. Want me to call Sasuke? At the mention of Sasuke's name, Sakura's head shot up slightly and blushed, causing her to poke Neji painfully on his arm, but Neji completely ignored it. Apparently not. Why don't you try and suggest to let her sit down? A voice said. All three heads turned towards the voice. It was Sasuke. Yeah, Sakura-san, I think you should sit down. Shikamaru said. Sasuke sighed. Shikamaru, can I talk to you for a little while? He watched as Sakura sat down the nearest plastic chair and stared of space. The other contestants are there at the far end of the room, reviewing, but Sakura is not in the reviewing mood. Shikamaru felt himself being dragged to the other side of the room, where there are lesser people. Sasuke thought he heard Shikamaru say, "How troublesome," but remembered, he is with the lazy-ass Shikamaru. He's bound to hear that every once in a while. What are you getting at, Uchiha? Shikamaru crossed his arms and rested his back on the wall behind him, his right knee bended so that his right foot rested too on the wall. You told me something about talking to the audience, right? Sasuke waited for Shikamaru to have anything to reply. The latter nodded. I'm going to use the free time you've given me at the last part of the concert. Quote, what are you planning? Shikamaru asked as he thought he saw a mischievous sparkle in Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke looked at him. It's a secret. Neji's head showed up as he heard the MC speak on the microphone. Her voice boomed in the auditorium and he chuckled slightly. This girl doesn't know to speak normally, even in the microphone. Sakura, stand up now. Neji said while carefully helping Sakura stand up. Afraid to let go, Neji slowly took off his hands off Sakura's shoulders and found that she is trembling slightly. Sakura. Sakura turned her head towards the collar. She caught glimpse of the color of raven and knows only one person in that color. Sasuke. Sakura felt his arms surround her body and she became aware of herself being limp as she let herself be supported by her holder. You can do it, Sakura. I know you can. Here, hold this, it is my lucky necklace. Wear it, you'll feel better. Sakura looked at the necklace being putted in her hands. It is black and shiny, with a black fan in it. It's the Uchiha symbol, Sakura. It is used by Uchihas for good luck. Ironic, isn't it? Sakura looked at Sasuke with wide eyes. But I'm not an Uchiha. Sasuke smiled slightly. A small smile, but it is still present on his face. Yes, I know, because it is said that people who use it for good luck outside the family is blessed. Let me. He got the necklace again and went around Sakura. He opened the lock of the necklace and putted it around Sakura's neck, which is covered by a thick jacket she's wearing. You'll feel better on stage, I promise you. Sasuke whispered as he enveloped Sakura once more in a hug. That was a lie, right? What you said and gave to Sakura earlier, it is all a lie, Neji said once they settled on the front row seat. They watched as Sakura's name was called, Sakura walking confidently on stage with a small bow and went to her place. Sasuke chuckled slightly. Come on, it has an effect on her. Look. Sasuke indicated to how Sakura walked. She looks like she's really confident about competing. Neji said, oh well, I guess you could deal with it later. Sasuke nodded. He looked back on stage. The EMC. EE is explaining everything that is to be done during the competition. He saw as Sakura nodded faintly, indicating that she understood what the MC said. Her face is void of any emotion, just a look of determination and concentration. She's just like the Sakura they knew before, minus the glasses. Sasuke rubbed the back of his neck. He can feel some people staring at him behind his back. He heard the person behind him saying something near to, he's here because of his girlfriend. But he shook his head. Maybe he just thought he was the one they were talking about. Sakura looked down at Sasuke, who started to tense up. There were 3 of them left on stage, one of them is her. The one who answers the next question correctly will be part of the last question. Then, the one who can answer the second question will compete with the first correct answerer. In the science category, explain the law of reflection. Sakura furrowed her brows but suddenly heard a buzz. When the light impinges on a reflecting surface, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. The guy called Richard Smith answered. Sakura breathed deeply. There's another chance. One last question. Sakura felt her mouth dry. She closed her eyes momentarily and reopened them, feeling refreshed. She heard the MC said that the answer is correct. Then, later on, the MC asked them if they're ready. Sakura just nodded. In math, what is the average of the first 335 positive integers? You will be given 10 seconds for this. Sakura blinked. Now, this is easy. She looked sideways to her opponent. An African woman, whom she forgot her name, is writing furiously. Average is equals to the sum of the first and last number divided by 2. So, 1 plus 300 and D35 divided by 2 is equal to 336 divided by 2, and the final result is 160. Then she heard a buzz. It came from the woman she's competing with. 164. Wrong. You're wrong because the last number is 8. I'm sorry but that is wrong. The MC made a smile and turned to Sakura. You still have a chance, Ms. Haruno. Sakura breathed deeply and prayed that she's right. 168. Sakura said, looking hopefully to the MC. I'm sorry miss, but we have our last 2 contenders. The African L80 bowed gracefully and went to the backstage, where, as far as Sakura can see, she is crying. Okay. The first one who will answer correctly will be the champion, the one who will receive the title of being the most intelligent person in the world. The next question won't have a time limit, so take your time. Sakura inhaled and exhaled, and continued to repeat the action until she heard the MC speak again. In mythology, what creature is being described? A body and 4 legs like a lion, the head, neck and wings of an eagle, and the short tail of the camel. It is also said that it is related to griffin. Now, where have I heard that? Sakura noticed that her opponent is having trouble too. Then, she remembered it. Flashback. Those are ugly creatures, Sakura said to Sasuke, who is reading a black book with the gold lettering behind it, mythology. Sasuke pointed at the creature Sakura described. This one. Sakura nodded. This creature is my favorite in this mythology book. It's unique, haven't you noticed? No. What's it called? Opinicus. End of flashback. Sakura felt the buzzer and pushed it. She was startled at the sound. Ms. Haruno. Sakura could feel lots of eyes staring right through her. Oh Opinicus. Sakura gulped. The concert part 1. The correct answer is Opinicus. The MC said, turning at Sakura's direction and smiling slightly at her. Guess we have our new champion. At the car. Thanks for the lucky charm, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said to Sasuke, moving her head to the left so that she faced him. Sasuke looked at Neji and smirked, who shook his head in return. Sasuke turned his head towards Sakura. Don't mention it. Then his eyes traveled to the Uchiha symbol. You can keep it if you want. No, take it for tonight. Sakura insisted. Sasuke shook his head. No, it is a fake so I don't need it. What? Sasuke gulped, while Neji made a snorting noise which he successfully turned to a cough. What he means is, it is a fake. It is not a real charm. Sakura drew back a little and looked outside the window of the car. But it worked. That's because you believed in yourself, Sasuke reasoned out, stretching his arms above his head. Sakura pouted. It's no point arguing with him now he is in such a good mood. Ready? Sakura asked Naruto, as she watched him push his hair up, making it stand up a little bit more. The backstage is really busy. Adding a few finishing touches to the band members, a few dancers are practicing at the far end, Shikamaru moving around to see if everything is alright and everything that is needed to be checked is being examined. When Naruto was done, he flashed Sakura a bright smile and thumbs up. Sakura returned the thumbs up, then saw Sasuke approaching her. "Hey," Sasuke said. He just smirked and bent down to Sakura's ear. "Get ready for a surprise later." "What do you mean, surprise?" Sakura whispered back. Then she noticed Sasuke is holding something in his hand. The pile of papers she saw at his room. "Or maybe you can look for clues here." Sasuke putted the papers in Sakura's hands. Sakura looked at the papers on her lap. She gave Sasuke a questioning look. He just shrugged, then strengthened himself, clapping his hands and shouting to everybody to get ready. Sakura soon heard a booming sound from above as Sakura jumped up as a stimulus. She watched as Sasuke pulled down what Sakura thought earlier as a curtain. But she was certainly wrong. It was a small elevator. She watched in awe as Sasuke and Naruto enter through it, and it ascended up, while Neji and Gaara wait for it to come back. Adjusting the small microphone stuck in their ear, Sakura felt someone tap her shoulder and she turned around, seeing Shikamaru asking for her to follow him. Sakura left the pile of papers in the chair she sat on earlier, following where Shikamaru was going. She saw him lead her to the operating room, where she heard from Sasuke earlier that it is where the special effects are being produced. Sakura watched in amazement as she watched the concert on a lone computer, where the camera is showing Sasuke doing a fighting scene with Naruto on stage. Sasuke had something close to a ball of electricity in his hand, while Naruto is like holding a small ball in his hand. Both charged at each other, but missed by a few inches. "How did you do that?" Sakura suddenly asked, earning a few chuckles from the people controlling the computers. Shikamaru was the one who answered her. "Actually, it is a trick up the bad luck's sleeves, and we have no idea how those guys do that." Shikamaru putted a finger on his chin, crossing an arm around his chest as support. "Naruto has this ball-like blue thingy in his hand, while Sasuke has some sort of electricity ball in his. I remember that Neji can make both of his hands move in different directions rapidly. I mean, you could actually hear the air if you were near him. Then Gaara can have sand in a matter of seconds." Sakura nodded her head, muttering, "Amazing," under her breath as she turned her head once more to see more action. Now she saw Naruto and Sasuke pull off both their jackets, revealing the sleeveless white shirt they wore underneath. Her hands immediately shot up to her chest, where, she just realized, she still wore the gold medal given to her as one of the rewards. She smiled. If she is in for a surprise, he boys also have no idea what's in store for them. "I always thought that Russia is not too cold," Ino said, pulling her purple buccaneer-styled jacket closer to her body. "Hey, you shouldn't complain, besides you thought of this idea. There's no point arguing," Tenten replied, her chocolate brown hair swaying as she walked forward. Hinata retaliated. "Hey, I think it is not fair to blame her. Besides, you also agreed." Tenten pouted. "All right, I might as well tell you all that bad luck is not going down. I promise you," Sasuke said in a reassuring tone, his right arm around Naruto's shoulders, while Naruto's left is on Sasuke's. There came a reply of shouts from the crowd. Naruto visibly smiled. He had been on this a few times before. First, the mounting tension, then when you are already on stage, all is forgotten. Sasuke spoke again. "There is one thing though. When we are on practice, Neji accidentally played a song, Underneath the Waves, on the CD player. I liked the tone, so I let Neji play it and not change it. Then Naruto had this stupid, but wonderful idea of actually playing it first time in concert here in Russia. He raised his microphone and waved it, while Naruto iced a hand and plastered on his face a goofy grin. More shouts came, but then that would be later. For now, I will leave Naruto here for a while to think about things, or maybe, even someone." Sasuke quickly caught the microphone being thrown at him by Naruto, earning a few "uhhs" and "ahs" from the crowd. Naruto caught the microphone being thrown back at him. "So, how are you?" A few made rock signs and Naruto nodded at them. "I love having friendly fights with the other bad luck members, especially Sasuke Tem." Naruto pouted. "But sometimes it gets too much." Naruto smiled. "But it is true, what he said. Some Naruto fans started crying while some rolled their eyes, thinking that it is one of Naruto's jokes. Naruto putted the microphone in the stand, and then got an acoustic guitar from a dancer and a stool from another one. I'm dedicating this song to one of the most important people in my life. Wish you were here, but, Naruto smiled bitterly. You are not here. Naruto sat on the stool and placed the guitar on his right thigh. He strummed the chord combination of CGMF and added solemnity on the melody. He spoke on the microphone while doing the intro. Hinata, this is for you. So long to you, my love. Don't be afraid to run away. I know you'll be okay. Just take your time to find. But I need you here tonight. I need you here inside. I need you here tonight. I really, really need you here tonight. Made up my mind on this. Too late for me to hold you back. Maybe too short or dumb to cry for you, but I will anyway. It's all my fault to feel this way for you that day. I know I am and I will. Though it's wrong, so wrong. 'Cause I need you here tonight. I need you here inside. I need you here tonight. I really, really need you here. I need you, I need you. I need you here inside. I need you, I need you. I really, really need you. He finished the song using the chord F, strumming it down 4 times, 1 time up and down for the last time. He closed his eyes, oblivious to the fact that the one that he dedicated the song to is actually listening to him. The concert part 2. Wow, Hinata, Ino said as she continued looking up at the big screen at the heart of the city. They managed to squeeze themselves in the crowd, in the hopes of managing to push past these people to go inside the secret door to the stadium, where the concert is being held. Sakura had told them the directions through cell phone, and they seemed to be having trouble with it. Naruto literally poured out his soul to you, not knowing you were here. Hinata had her head down, a small smile tugging at the edge of her lips. Tenten smiled as she looked up once again at the screen. Gaara is there, moving swiftly as if he is swaying with the wind and just playing with the music. Come on, we need to go. Sakura said she'll be waiting for us somewhere near the opening in her disguise. Ino said, looking at her cell phone. Black jacket with blue t-shirt underneath, with a painter's hat. How did you do that? Tenten asked. Do what? You still manage to hear your cell phone even though a lot of people around us are really loud. Tenten replied, crossing her arms. Ino smiled and shook her phone in front of Tenten's face. It is called a woman's instinct. Sakura shivered. She had asked Shikamaru the permission to go out for a moment, promising to return after 10 to 20 minutes. Where are you, guys? Sakura said to herself, searching around the deserted place where an entrance to the backstage is concealed behind an abandoned building, just next to the stadium. The fog eye's thick and Sakura found herself slightly having trouble seeing, but soon saw 3 figures Sakura is very familiar with. Sakura's face soon lightened up and smiled as she waited for the figures to come nearer. Sakura-chan, come in, now, we need to hurry up. Neji walked towards the elevator once more, but saw just in time, the door open and saw Sakura came in. He saw her mouth a good luck, and gave him a one last look. And he can tell that it is a mischievous one. She pushed someone that was entering the door, making him fail to know who it was, but soon he ascended up. He shook his head. Sakura had changed. From brainy girl, to being one of the head turners of the school, from pushing Sasuke away, to pulling him back to her, from Neji and her falling in love with one another, ending up to be friends in the end. But this is what he had always wanted. From the start, what he felt for Sakura was one sort of infatuation that never bloomed into love. But he never understood why he never had the courage to court a certain Chinese girl. Tenten. He had always wondered why all these years, he had never known her last name. He never dared go near her, unless her weak new boyfriend jumps in front of him and fight with him, ruining his nice guy reputation. He had never thought of being near to her, causing his unnoticed feelings to go deeper. Neji raised his head. He knew Saint work on this one once they are back in Konoha. But for now, he must work on Naruto's suggestion that proved to be, for once, wonderful. At least, they don't have to face the girls to say what they really meant to them. But to him, Sasuke is the luckiest. He could show Sakura there and then how much she meant to him, but that would mean being embarrassed in front of the crowd. But, knowing Sasuke, he had this enormous amount of confidence. He smirked at the people in front of him. These people call it, the legendary killer smile of the Hyuga. Doesn't even look like a smile to me, Neji thought, as he picked up the lone microphone off the floor and talked to the people. Shikamaru-san. Shikamaru turned around and saw Hinata in front of him, smiling shyly. Some people nodded as a sign of recognition and quickly went back to their work. Sakura watched Tenten as Neji asked the people questions. Shikamaru-san, I want you to meet Tenten here, she pointed at the chocolate-haired girl, and I'm Yamanaka Ino, Ino said, taking Shikamaru's right hand and shaking it slightly. Shikamaru seemed startled, but regained his composure soon. He nodded and turned his back again. Ino gave Hinata a playful grin as Hinata smiled back. Now, for my last question, how many here have fallen in love? Neji asked, and found himself confused, too, of why he asked the question when it is not on the plan list. But, he thought it is also good to interact and be honest with the crowd. At least he will not be putting a mask on himself. He watched as a lot of people raised their hands. Some, he noticed, hesitated, but he played along. Why are others uncertain of their answers? You know, you shouldn't be like that, or you'll lose the people important to you. He lowered his head slightly and felt the crowd lessen their clamor. He gulped and got ready to continue. Because I think I already lost that particular person I like the most, probably even loved. Neji kept his head down. But still, why? Oh, you wouldn't believe yourself if you wanted to forget that certain person because you were speculating that she was just entering your mind for a moment, so you just move on with your life. Then, you just realize that you have been glancing at her almost each passing second with growing intensity, and soon you began to understand that you needed to be with her. But you can't, because she is with her boyfriend. Soon, you just give up and find another, do the same cycle of courting, then let go once more because, once again, her is the reason. But still, Neji looked up and smirked painfully. You still wanted to be with her. Wherever you are, whoever you are with, and whenever there is time. So I want you to enjoy this song that, at the same time, I'm offering to her and you guys. Neji arranged the microphone, as a guitar was playing, which proved to be Sasuke, as he moved towards his place on the stage, a few feet away from Neji, also by Naruto who was playing the drums, and finished group as Gaara played the part of the second guitar. Another day is going by. I'm thinking about you all the time. But you're out there, and I'm here waiting, and I wrote this letter in my head. 'Cause so many things were left unsaid. But now you're gone, and I can't think straight. This could be the one last chance. To make you understand, I'd do anything, just to hold you in my arms. To try to make you laugh. Somehow I can't put you in the past. I'd do anything, just to fall asleep with you. Will you remember me? 'Cause I know, I won't forget you. Together we broke all the rules. Dreaming of dropping out of school. And leave this place. To never come back. So now maybe after all these years. If you miss me, have no fear. I'll be here. I'll be waiting. This could be the one last chance to make you understand. And I just can't let you leave me once again. I'd do anything, just to hold you in my arms. To try to make you laugh. 'Cause somehow I can't put you in the past. I'd do anything, just to fall asleep with you. Will you remember me? 'Cause I know, I won't forget you. I close my eyes, and all I see is you. I close my eyes, I try to sleep, I can't forget you, Nanana. And I'd do anything for you. I'd do anything, just to hold you in my arms. To try to make you laugh. 'Cause somehow I can't put you in the past. I'd do anything, just to fall asleep with you. To fall asleep with you. With you. I'd do anything, to fall asleep with you. I'd do anything, there's nothing I won't do. I'd do anything, to fall asleep with you. I'd do anything, 'cause I know, I won't forget you. Neji Ved one last time in the audience before hurrying to the moving elevator going back down to the backstage. Sasuke's surprise. Neji raised his hand up to his forehead and wiped it with the back of his hand. He sighed. How he wished he had not asked that question because it is not really part of the program. He braced himself for whatever comment Shikamaru might give to him for his lack of orderliness. Had he not studied the plan for the concert almost 100th time? He did it, as a matter of fact. His mind was blocked at that time by that certain girl. All he knew was that Tenten is still with her boyfriend, Ryuji. A transferee from Sound High, who came in Konoha High with a bang. He had earned himself a place for the high honors, but unable to obtain it since he is only a newcomer. Neji smirked at the thought. When Tenten is not looking, he had been boasting of how he is going to force the school to give him the place, but when Tenten will ask him about it, he will just say that those people are jealous. He was so absorbed in his thinking that he didn't realize the elevator had hit the floor, and Shikamaru came, awaking him from his reverie. Nice work, Hyuga, and maybe a little surprise for our big boy. Shikamaru gestured toward Sakura. What surprise? He uttered. He couldn't understand why Sakura would be a surprise. But he froze on the spot when he saw the very person that had been occupying his mind for quite a while now. When she turned around, he noticed how her eyes and shoulders tensed, the mannerism that shows when she is nervous and uneasy. Their eyes met. Both wanted to look away but unable to. Sakura and Shikamaru both noticed the uneasiness, and Sakura invited the two of them to go outside. Once the three were out of the room, Sakura acted as if she forgot something inside and will go back after a few minutes, and asked them to wait patiently. Sakura quietly closed the door and went next to Ino. A few minutes passed and Sakura had not returned yet, but to Neji and Tenten. Time didn't really matter in their situation. Sure, Neji's next number will be right after Sasuke's and Gaara's, but to Neji, it is like hours away. Tenten shifted her position and stole a glance at Neji before resting her back on the wall. She let her back bounce back and forth on it, and when she realized she had caught Neji's attention, she stopped at once. So, what are you doing here? Neji asked in a calm voice. He thanked Kami-sama silently for giving him such tone in this kind of situation. Tenten internally rolled her eyes. How could he look so comfortable when she, herself, can't? It's a wonder how some people manage to be cold and cool all the time, and that's one of the things she admires about him. Unconsciously, her eyes drifted towards his when he is not looking at her. She realized that his face had elongated a little, making his features more mature. Neji felt Tenten's eyes on him, so he gulped and continued to focus all of his attention on the floor. Soon, all the attention that he had received became more and more uneasy, so he looked up and met her gaze. He noticed a faint blush that covered her cheeks, softening her full-grown features, and almost immediately he felt himself being drawn. He walked a step, and another, so he was in front of her already. Tenten soon felt her heartbeat raced as she immediately looked away from his gaze. But she knew it was not the answer to her present predicament. Tenten breathed deeply, still looking at the tiled floor, annoyed that even downward, she could see Our reflection and saw that Neji inched closer again to her, just an inch away from invading privacy. What are you doing? Tenten managed to say as her body shook a little. Nothing. How can you say nothing, if you're edging on me? Tenten said, finally meeting his gaze once more, but this time, both with an intense look. Neji said nothing, bent down, his eyes closing a little. Tenten gulped as she tried to relax herself. Failing miserably as her breathing became shallow and short, at the same time, Neji's distance from her started closing down. Caught in the moment, Tenten forced herself to initiate the beat that Neji had encouraged her to do, enjoying the feeling of his soft, smooth lips against hers. Tenten, who was shocked with her own boldness, instantly relaxed. She felt Neji beeping her back and leaned back on the wall. Neji found himself unable to stop and wrapped his arms around Tenten's waist, his tongue boldly sweeping over her lips, asking for entrance. At first, Tenten was hesitating. But as Neji's arms got tighter, she eventually gave up and let Neji do his job. Sakura quickly turned around after softly closing the door behind Neji and Tenten. She thought that whatever is to happen between those two are their business, they shouldn't meddle in. She cast Ino a warning glare when she tried to approach the door to eavesdrop, but stopped halfway from her position. Then, in a blink of an eye, she felt a cloth being put around her eyes, shielding her vision. Sakura tried to tug off the cloth, but she heard Shikamaru say, "Don't." Sakura let her arm fall down limply beside her and tried to think of the reason why her eyes are in a blindfold, but nevertheless, let Shikamaru continue to tie the cloth behind her head. When she felt that he was done, she raised both hands and felt her eyes behind the cloth and took in the smooth texture and slightly masculine smell of the cloth, causing her to remember Sasuke again. She felt someone grab her arm and led her somewhere. She tried to walk slowly, hearing a small, dull sound in return when her feet made contact with the floor, but when she made contact with something that sounds like metal, she knew that it would move soon. Then, her hunch was proven correct when the floor made a little noise and a little vibration, making her sure of one thing: she was being carried upward. Sakura trembled. If she's going up, then she is sure she will go on stage in the middle of the concert. But she isn't sure. Then, as if on a cue, the sound of a cheering crowd flooded her ears. She didn't know, but suddenly, the hairs behind her back stood up, when she was being pulled again. The sound had increased and she gulped. What the? May I present to you, the champion of the international quiz bee competition, Haruno Sakura. Okay, that is, wonderful, but what the hell are you planning to do, Uchiha? Suddenly, she stopped next to someone, and that someone put an arm around her shoulders. When the person spoke, she now knew entirely who it was. What's with the blindfold? I bet you didn't read those papers that I give you. Sasuke unknotted the cloth around her eyes and Sakura blinked, to adjust her vision with her surroundings. She looked around and breathed in deeply. She cast Sasuke an uneasy glance, but unfortunately, she passed her an annoying smirk. Why don't you sit over there? Sasuke said without the microphone and pointed at the stage stairs. Sakura made her way towards it and looked back with a look of confusion plastered on her face. She sat on the third stair and looked at Sasuke. Watching him as how he continued to please the crowd with just his looks, then make them overjoyed by giving in to their requests of singing their favorite songs. In short, she had always admired him. Even though she had chosen Neji over him before, she can't help but understand why in the world her mind changed from Neji to Sasuke. The fact that she had talked Idate into shutting G up and leaving her alone makes her mind drift towards the possibility of the two of them being together without anyone interfering. The two of them, together, without anyone interfering. But that was totally absurd. Of all the sequel stories she had read, there was always someone who would interfere. None would depict the story everyone dreams to have. None would go over the distance to show everyone how much they love a person. But her thoughts flew away when Sasuke made his way towards her, a playful glint present in his eyes. He looked stunningly, dare she say it, hot and totally rocks. In his all-black attire that seemed to be a little tight for his body. When he approached her, a sound of a string of notes played on an acoustic guitar appeared on the background, making the crowd cheer. Sasuke stopped in front of her and sang the first two lines. The stars beneath the skies. They tell me you're a secret. Sasuke sat next to Sakura, making a little smile, but continued to focus on the song. And every time I wake up in the morning, rain is falling down on me. I feel free. You caught me by surprise. I asked you to believe me. Without a lie, we never have to say and feel we're sorry. Don't say we're sorry. Soon you'll see. Sasuke stood up and walked away, going back to the crowd, occasionally glancing back at Sakura and smirking slightly when he is to turn back again. I'm learning you now. Stars fading, free falling into you. This time I'm sure what I'm looking for. And that's what I want you to know. And I won't ever let you go. Let you go. Sakura's eyes widened slightly as he turned around and looked at her eyes deeply. He smiled as he jogged to where she is sitting on and reached out his hand to Sakura, which she gladly took. She hoisted herself up with the help of Sasuke and she let him pull her towards the crowd. The crowd tried to reach out for both Sakura and Sasuke, and Sakura is having second thoughts if she is to reach back because of the possibility that the crowd might go ballistic and pull her towards them. But when she was about to reach back, Sasuke put an arm around her shoulders, causing her to go rigid, and made their way nonetheless back on stage. Underneath the waves, I could feel you. Underneath the waves, I'm learning you now. Stars fading, free falling into you. Then the song was cut. Sasuke smiled as some of the crowd shouted, "Oh!" And a few, "What the," was heard. I want you guys to sing with me now. The crowd agreed. Some gave Sasuke a "You rock" hand figure and shouted, "Yeah." Sasuke pointed the microphone unto the cheering crowd, and at the same moment the song played again. This time I'm sure what I'm looking for. And that's what I want you to know. And I won't ever let you go. Let you go. Sasuke took back the microphone and positioned it near his mouth, his arms never leaving Sakura's shoulders, making Sakura feel very uncomfortable with their position. It's all been said and done to me, I know it. Just let me have a chance to prove my cause. And I don't know what lies ahead for us. In any road I'll let you come my way. Sasuke let Sakura sit on the same stair again, this time. He knelt down and held one of her hands. This time I'm sure what I'm looking for. And that's what I want you to know. And I won't ever let you go. Let you go. Sasuke inched his face nearer to Sakura's, his legs aching slightly with his position, but totally ignored it as he sang the remaining lines of the song. The crowd cheered from moderate to completely loud. And I'm ready for you now. Be ready for me now. And I'm ready for you now. Be ready for me now. Show me love. Her short breaths fanned his face as he continued to inch nearer to her. When someone goes over the distance to show his love for you, grab him. Literally. And never let go. Ino's voice drifted into her mind. Their hearts raced 100 times faster than the normal rate, and both closed their eyes, savoring each moment. Never minding the millions of people watching them, never minding the reactions of the crowd for their public display of affection. Sasuke put down his microphone and completely captured Sakura's lips into a passionate beep, which she returned deeply. The audience cheered, and some contained tears in their eyes as they watched Sakura and Sasuke with their public display of affection. When their lips met, Sakura felt a surge of electricity in her body, causing her to shiver violently. Sasuke seemed to notice, as he relinquished the beep and sat next to her, rapidly capturing her lips once more into a passionate action. The second beep was chaste, but as the presence of the crowd almost became oblivious to them, it turned from innocent to passionate. Sasuke parted his mouth slightly as his tongue swept over Sakura's lips, asking for entrance, but she won't budge. Sakura pulled away and said, "Maybe later," before flashing him a small smile. Sasuke smiled a little as he asked Sakura, "So, did you like my surprise?" At the mention of this, Sakura's smile broadens, and she looked at Sasuke differently than she did before. "Of course, who wouldn't?" was her reply. Sasuke just raised an eyebrow but smirked again. "We'll be making the front page of every newspaper. Let it be," Sakura said, waving one last time before disappearing with Sasuke down the elevator. To be continued, and thank you for watching.